Alderman Mosteller, can you hear me? You're still muted, friend.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
I can see you're trying to say something, but I'm not hearing you.
Well, I don't know what to do. Tell me what to do. You can't hear me? Then join. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
I can find out. We had issues with her phone earlier, but
You hear me?
Can you try speaking again, please?
Testing 1 2. Good evening. Testing 1 2. I'm speaking. Testing 1 2. It says Cheyenne's off. Testing 1 2. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Testing 1 2. Hello? Testing 1 2.
I'm going to try something. Alderman Mosteller, give me 1 second.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Testing 1 2. Good evening. Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. 1 2 testing. Hello, testing.
Alderman
1 2.
Mosteller, can you try again, please?
Yes, testing. Can you hear me now? Testing. Hello, testing. Can you hear me now? Hello,
Karen,
testing.
this is
Can you hear me
Elena.
now?
I just wanted to let you know that Cheyenne is checking the device in the kitchen. We'll be back with you momentarily.
Okay, thank you. Yes. So testing 1 2. Good evening. Testing 1 2 1 2. Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. 1 2 testing. Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2 testing. Testing 1 2 testing. Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2 testing. Testing 1 2. Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2.
Alderman
Testing.
Mosteller, we can hear you now.
Okay, awesome.
Can you talk again, please?
Testing 1, 2. Good evening. Testing 1, 2. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Testing 1, 2. Testing. Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. Are you listening to me through Microsoft or from Otter? Continue. Testing 1, 2. Good evening. Testing 1, 2. Testing, testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. Good evening. Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. Can you hear me? Okay, tell me what to do. I don't know. Tell me what to do. Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2.
Good evening. The
Hello?
City of Southport Board of Aldermen, February 12th, 2026 meeting is now called to order. Thank you for those in attendance and for those watching remotely. We welcome you. Our invocation will be delivered tonight, this evening, by Reverend Madison Drew from the Lighthouse Pentecostal Church. This will be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand.
Let us bow our heads in prayer. Almighty God, we gather tonight in the beautiful city of Southport, standing beneath the shade of the historic oaks and beside the water that sustains us. Lord, we thank you for the unique spirit of this community and for the opportunity to serve its people. Lord, we gather today to honor the legacy of those that have came before us. We hear the words of the Apostle Paul, urging us to walk in a manner worthy of the calling to which we have been called. Grant us the humility, the gentleness, and the patience to bear one another in love, making every effort to keep the unity of the Spirit through the bond of peace. God, strengthen us tonight to see that our common origin in you is greater than any difference of race or culture. For you are the one God and Father of all, who is over all and through all and in all. God, as this board begin its work tonight, God, we ask for a spirit of unity to fill the chamber. Help these leaders to find the common ground that serves the greater good. We pray for a sense of togetherness that reminds us all that we are all neighbors, bound by a shared love for the town. Grant this board the wisdom to make the decisions with clarity and compassion, to listen with open hearts. Make the work here done tonight strengthen the bonds of our community and preserve the beauty of Southport for generations to come. In the precious name of Jesus, and everybody says, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Reverend Drew. Item D, public comment. Madam Clerk.
Bonnie Bray.
Hi, my name is Bonnie Bray. I live at 515 Quartermaster Drive in Southport. Thank you for the opportunity to give a public comment on the public comment policy. I understand you're going to be looking at revising the current policy in 2 areas. You're going to put a time limit on individual speakers, which is 3 minutes, and that also includes a time limit on a group spokesperson of 8 minutes. I think that's a reasonable restriction, because I know we have a tendency to go on and on up here, and then meetings are already long enough. Number 10, however, members of the public who are not present may send in written comments to the city clerk, who shall forward those comments to the Board of Aldermen. I don't know, because the sentence ends there. I don't know then how you plan to make those comments public, because public comment is as much for the benefit of you all as it is for the people who come to the meetings and who watch the meetings on camera. And I think that there needs to be a mechanism by which if those emails that are sent in are not read aloud during the public's forum, then you need to find a way to make them public. And I would suggest that it not be by attaching them to the minutes of the meeting, because as this month's agenda, the consent agenda, the very first item is that you all are going to be approving meetings for February 13th, March 3rd, May 30th, October 28th, and January 8th meetings way long after the fact. So if there's an issue that people care enough to submit a public comment on, we should know about it right then, not the following month or the following 6 months before we know what the person said. I could suggest keeping another way to handle it, and I don't know, maybe put it on somewhere in, it can't go in the packet because you get the packet a week ahead of time. It needs to be available as soon as humanly possible. Another way to handle it is to restrict emails to 1 page, a certain number of words, just like the pilot has a restriction for letters to the editor. And then that way people are not going to get carried away and submit a really long email. But at the very least, you need to deal with the fact that having people publicly comment and having no one know what it says except for the people who get the clerk's rendition of it, email to you all. We, the public, need to know. Okay, please. Also, I had one other question, and this comes from first-hand experience. There are certain meetings that you hold that public comment is not allowed. And if maybe someone could answer that, I don't know what the criteria is, but I was gavelled because I was I was gavelled for a couple of reasons. One was that I was not allowed to make a public comment because of the nature of the meeting at which I wanted to comment. So I know the policy is that you don't, answer from the dais, but if someone could please get back to me and give me a list of the meetings that are not where public comment is not allowed at all. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk.
Katie Boyd. Hi, I'm Katie Boyd. I live at 828 North Castle Avenue. And I wanted to present to you an enemy. Enemy, not just of you all that serve the city, but of your constituents, of your people. And that's this. Everybody know what this is? Guesses? This is a round to it.
Ms. Boyd, if you would speak into the microphone so everyone can hear you.
We all see the round to it. We have, as a historian, I regret to say this, we have a poor history when it deals with getting a round to it. Specifically, I want to bring to you your attention on the matter of my property. Behind the property, I started to complain in right after Hurricane Florence. And it was a large sewage well that does not have a grate. I even went so far as to putting cones around it. I know that our tax dollars have gone to hiring a really great firm, contractor up in Burlington. I've addressed this with Mr. Mabe. Last time Mr. Mabe was out there was March 17th of last year. And that's after the property owner was told to put a grate over a well so large that with the tall grass around it, if I were to walk and not know exactly where it was, I would not be able to get out. And because I have a child, but now he's almost 15, I don't have to worry about him, playing in areas like that. But there is a group of kids, and kids have a natural inclination to go to places that they ought not to be going to. The ominous basketballs and kickballs around this thing is appalling. Not only that, but I have to worry about the dead carrion. I have carrion of all manner that fall into the hole. We have raccoons, possums. If I'm lucky and I hear the little screeches, I can get out there and rescue one in time. But often it's too late, and you can smell that acrid smell, the sickeningly sweet smell of death that permeates down 9th Street. The other one, most alarmingly, is the property across the street from me at 823 North Castle Avenue. I first brought this to the attention of the city. I want to say when my child, because I had pictures of him learning to ride his bike without training wheels. He's now going to driver's ed at almost 15. It's still derelict. I live across from a property that has no roof, trees growing out, not to mention trash. And I know that the city brought it to the attention of the inheritors of the property. They were kind enough to cut down the crepe myrtle, but it's littered. Every evening, we can expect large swaths of rats to go running in and out of that dwelling. These are not conditions that I'm used to in Southport. These are third world conditions. And we paid way too much tax dollars to have those sort of conditions. It's gotten to be a problem where neighbors, including myself, have been overrun by vermin. We've had to give, for example, my dog shots, lepto shots, because of the rats and the mice that come out of that dwelling. And in my dog's case, he had a bad reaction to the lepto shot and developed a mass cancer tumor cell. We've got several emails just recently where myself and a neighbor have implored the city to do something. And I know generationally it can be hard if we can't track down some of the original documents and ownership, but this has been problematic since Hurricane Florence. I've been complaining about, and it still remains. not only does it remain, but alarmingly, it remains a hazard, not only to myself and the people that live around the immediate area, but for all the people that live in Southport. We have far too many derelict and rundown buildings, and we should be better than that. I'm the first person to go out there and volunteer in my family services to help trim yards and to do manual labor. But this has fallen upon deaf ears, just like the grate has fallen upon deaf ears. I know last time Mr. Mabe discussed the situation, it was a 3-strike sort of policy, I want to say, if memory serves. You go out there and you petition the homeowner. Nothing happens. You do it again. Nothing happens. On the 3rd time, you start fining. And then after that, if there's no response, the city goes out there and they put a grate over the hole. Again, that was March of last year. And I know that we are paying a lot of dollars for this company that we contract out of Burlington, North Carolina, to be taking care of these issues. I don't want that hole to end up being another round to it. And it's not just a problem that we are inheriting as citizens, but honestly, it's a problem that you guys are inheriting as well. You've probably got your plates full of round to it, and people passing off the dollar and the buck and the problems, and hopefully the next group will do it, and the next group after that. At some point, we got to say the buck stops here, and we've got our pockets full of these round to its. So I'm urging you to put down your round to its. If you could please help out and help the property on North Caswell Avenue, specifically the one, and I think I talked to you one time after Hurricane Florence, and you were good enough to come out there. But that was after Hurricane Florence. And it's persisted to be a problem. And the one thing I don't want is I don't want a derelict property that's already a health hazard to be a hazard to somebody's safety and health further. So thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Ms. Boyd. Madam Clerk.
I have no one else.
Okay, great. Thank you. Our next item on the agenda is item E, the ethics statement. If any members know of any conflict of interest or the appearance of a conflict of interest concerning matters on the agenda, please so state at this time. Board, any conflicts? I have one conflict, and that's with item I-5, alleyways, city alleyways policy update considerations. Alderman Davis will lead that discussion, and if there's a motion or a vote or anything like that, I will not be involved, and Mayor Pro Tem will handle that.
Actually, I don't see where that's a conflict for you, because the text within this is simply about gathering information for future considerations of developing a policy and procedure for alleyways. But if you're more comfortable, I think it doesn't state
The appearance,
statute
the
limit
appearance
what you
of a
can
conflict of interest.
say again.
The appearance.
Okay. Caesar's wife. Okay. You know, the Caesar's wife, it is not enough for Caesar's wife to be virtuous. She must also appear to be virtuous. That's what a Duke education does for you.
Yes.
That's right.
Thank you. Thank you, Alderman Carroll. I appreciate that. Okay. Item F, approval of the agenda. And on our agenda tonight, we have 2 ordinances, one a noise ordinance and then the event ordinance. Then we have the public comment policy. Then we have the demonstration for our new city website. We have the city alleyways, and then we have the planning board appointments. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to remove one of the items from the agenda. That would be item 6 from the regular agenda, item I. That would be planning board appointments. I make the motion to remove that at this time from the agenda.
I
second the motion.
We have a motion and a second to remove planning board appointments, item I6.
What's the reason?
This is our process. I'm confused.
Yeah.
We've done our interviews and fulfilled our process.
My rationale for this is that we received only 3 applications. The person who is, the member who is an alternate applied to move to a regular position, and then there were 2 others. Typically, we receive 7 and 8 applications. I've talked to people who applied last year and the year before who were not appointed, but who appeared to certainly have many qualifications and are interested in applying again. And they completely fail to understand or see any reference to a posting for this. So I see no reason to rush to this. I think my next motion, if this passes, will be to repost to obtain more applications. Because, in summary, there are many people in this town who want to serve on various boards, but especially on the planning board. And because when did we post? Did we post in December? Tori?
Let me look real fast. Hang on 1 second.
I'm sorry?
Let me look real fast. I'm sorry. Hang on.
Okay. There was a
was
lot
not
going
prepared.
on, an election, holidays, and so on. And so I think that in fairness to the people of Southport, we should repost and give more people an opportunity. If you look back, last year, there were 8 applicants. The year before, there were 7. And now we get only 3, one of whom is already on the board.
There were more applicants last time. There were more positions for one. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. There were more positions when we got all those other applications for one thing. And it's a disservice to the people who pay attention and who apply to open it up when we've got viable candidates. The interview committee did the interviews and we're all in agreement that we had good candidates and we're bringing them forth. So I don't understand why this is sort of unprecedented.
I think it probably has more to do with personalities than the statement that's been made, is my guess. And so I would just ask that we call a vote.
We have a motion in a second, so we can just go ahead and vote. All in favor of the motion of removing item 6 from the agenda, please raise your hand. So 1, 2, Alderman Kelly, your hand's up. 3. Okay, so that's 4. So that's 4 to remove the planning board's work recommendations.
Why did you not bring this up when the agenda was presented last week?
Yeah,
because you didn't.
I mean, this could have, a phone call would have helped, or contacted us, and because we could have handled it in a different way.
For the record, let's state that Sue Hodgen is being recommended as one of the appointments.
You are reading into this something quite different. I mean, you're certainly welcome to do so. But I'm trying to open this to a wider net of members of the public who are very interested. I talked to 2 people, as I said, who were previous applicants, and they completely missed
And they
the
cared
fact.
enough to watch the news. They cared enough to watch the paper. They cared enough to see the postings. It's very disrespectful to the people who actually show up, who participate.
Tori, did we get the date for when the posting?
Yes, so it went out online 10/22 and then it closed on 11/21.
I'm sorry, we need to have the no votes. We do have 4 yes and the no votes. Okay.
No, this is ridiculous.
Okay, 4-2, Alderman Mosteller, thank you. Yeah.
I don't know if this is the appropriate time to make a motion to repost right away, or perhaps we should discuss this further down the line as to when we would repost. We're coming up on, in I believe 6 weeks, beginning to repost for interviews and decision making on our regular schedule. So I think maybe one of the problems was that people are not accustomed to seeing a posting off schedule as this one was. So at any rate, I don't know whether a motion at this point to set dates for reposting or not is appropriate, or you're in the hot seat now.
Was
When is
the recommendation was
appropriate thing?
unanimous, correct?
Hmm?
You had 1 really bad candidate and 2 good ones.
Right. The recommendations were unanimous with all 4 of the committee the panel that participated in the interviews.
Let's don't say bad candidate. Let's don't get into personality.
I'm just
here.
telling
you.
This is not the issue.
Oh,
This
I'm
is
not
really
saying
bad.
it. I think the word was horrible.
Yeah, I don't think the Board of Aldermen sets the tone in terms of when something's going to be posted and that type of thing. I think it comes up routinely. Planning Director, if you could speak to that, when or Mr. Chairman from the Planning Board, when a position opens up, doesn't it just, it's automatically posted? There's not a time limit, or, I mean, if it's open, it's open. The position is posted, and there's a certain amount of time for people to apply, and then it's closed off, and then the interviews are done, and then it's submitted. So I don't know how this is different from previous times, why this should be, should have been taken off, but the board voted, but so in other words, it's automatically reposted. I mean, that's the way it should be. If they're open, repost. You don't have to re-interview the people you've already interviewed and see if anyone else applies, and give it the certain amount of time that you normally do, and then do the interviews, and then come back. Okay.
With our new website design, will the fact that there is a posting be more readily available?
Can you elaborate on your question, Alderman Davis? What is that?
For the people that I spoke with who were very disappointed to find out that there had been a posting that they had missed, I don't know why they missed it. It may have been the time of year. It may have been that they just didn't see it. Is there a way with our new website design, which we're going to see tonight, I'm sure, for it to be very highly visible?
My guess
The
is
fact that there's
these people,
postings.
my guess is these people that are so interested have attended all of the planning board meetings on a regular basis and understand when there are absences and vacancies. But who knows?
They are posted there will continue to be on the homepage. There is now an e-notify system that residents and community members are welcome to sign up for alerts whenever there are edits made to the website. So that is completely up to those who would like to continue interacting with our website.
And we'll also
we post on social media.
And we can also put it in the newsletter if the timing corresponds with the next newsletter. So we'll do a plethora of advertisements.
Further down the line, not tonight, but for discussion perhaps at the retreat, I think we should allow more time for posting responses. We had this problem with Parks and Recreation. Somebody just completely missed the fact. And when they clicked to the fact that there was there'd been a posting and they were very interested in applying, it was too late. So maybe a month instead of, or whatever. Yeah, we did this by ordinance, how we do this. And so that would be an ordinance amendment.
Okay. So the by vote, item 6 will be removed from the agenda, and approval of the agenda otherwise.
I make a motion to remove item 5. It's a staff issue. Some of the suggestions that are in the packet are frankly illegal. And so I'd recommend we remove item 5.
Did you say illegal?
There,
So there's a motion and a second to remove
some of the
item 5.
suggestions in the packet, I don't think were run by our attorney in advance to let us know
I'll
what we
second that motion.
can and can't do.
Okay, motion second.
So this is stuff that could have been an email and should have been an email.
What specifically are you referring to? This is simply, if there's a motion at all, or just a direction to the city manager to ask staff to start gathering specific information that will help us as we go forward, trying to come up with a policy, a procedure for dealing with different alleyway issues. We've had a whole variety of alleyway issues come before us in the last 6 years that I've been on the board, and we've never had a policy. We ought to have a policy and a procedure. So this is simply asking the city manager to gather this information.
And that didn't require being on the agenda. That could have been a request, could have been an email, a phone call, and he would have directed staff to do that.
Is that sufficient for you, Mr. City Manager?
I'm good to proceed either way. I mean, I want to make sure in any direction of the board, it's a majority of the board and not one individual. So I think it depends on the scenario. I think during informational items like this, that could be sufficient direction from one member, but I want to make sure that, you know, there is some general consensus depending on the item, but I'm happy to proceed either way, however the board feels.
It sounds to me like, to be on the safe side, we ought to vote on this so that the city manager knows whether he has a majority or a full consensus to ask staff to do this work. Did I phrase that properly for you? Okay.
Yeah, that's good. Either if you don't want to move forward, if that's the vote, I'm happy to move forward with researching that. If the board wants to have specific directions and parameters around that, I'm happy to have that conversation and proceed in that direction. So I'm happy to do either way.
We have a motion and a second to remove it from the agenda. So any further discussion?
I just want to make sure I understand. Noah, you feel like you have sufficient guidance to move forward on doing this research, even if we don't vote on it, correct?
Yes, as long as there's no general opposition to going and seeking that information.
Well,
I'm
as an example,
happy to do
I don't
that.
think statute allows us to put alleyways on the market. And that's part of the, no, I'm pretty certain we know that. It's called a phone call to our city attorney. Certainly find it out, an email.
I'll
I mean,
leave it that I think that needs to be looked into on my end.
Say that again?
It needs to be looked into on my end.
Yeah. If we were to wish to close an alley or street, you know, the state statute goes into great detail about all that procedure. But if we decided we wanted to do that, well, then what are we going to do with that alleyway? What are we going to do? So that's why the sale lease, an
When
easement,
you
or
abandon an
whatever
alley,
would
it
come
goes,
into play.
it's split between the two, it's split between the two owners. We don't get to put it on the market. We don't get to make money off of it.
Two owners. I mean, I know of three,
On-
and I'm a property
on
owner of
either
a
side of the
property that
alley.
comes up to the back of
On either
an
side of the alley,
alleyway.
they split it in the middle and they give it to either side.
I think other people in the city may have objections to that. Because an alleyway belongs to everybody. So,
And that's the-
hey, we're selling their property.
Well, let's get back
Yeah,
to let's get back to whether or not it's going to remain on the agenda. Any other discussion in terms of whether or not it remains on the agenda?
I think perhaps with some research to come back, maybe Brady can have some ideas for us, maybe for next month. Can we perhaps look at moving it to the next agenda instead of removing it?
Does this have anything to do with the FOIA request that we received from Paul Winter this last week? No?
I saw that he had made a FOIA request, but
You've not had
I
any
don't know.
communication with him?
no, I don't know who he is.
Okay.
Okay, so
There are a lot of alleyways. There are more than just alleyways on North Atlantic. There are a lot of alleyways. There are a lot of easements. I didn't want to talk about one particular situation, but we've got a lot of issues, and those alleyways are the way to fix things. How are we going? I want to talk about maintaining them, keeping them clear, taking care of things. So it's not, I'm not trying to mess with anyone on this particular, this has been something that we've kicked to the curb for years. And there are a lot of them. There's one on Cape Fear Drive in between my mother's and Robert Tucker's house that's just no one maintains. There are trees that could be falling on somebody's head that we don't maintain. So it's not about North Atlantic and that.
I agree. And when we think about, so easements are something wholly different. That's land that we do not own. That's other people's property, and you get easements across that. Alleyways are much like right of way, and you can use the terms kind of interchangeable, if you will. We have, yes, you can. We have massive encroachments into the right of ways as well, all across town. So I think it's something we certainly need to have a conversation about. But if I'm not mistaken, Maureen, we have a process for opening an alley. We already have a process for opening an alley. So these are things that just because you don't know they exist doesn't mean they don't exist.
Okay, we should vote. We should have, I think you've stirred it up enough. We can move forward now with a vote. All in favor of removing it from the agenda? Aye. And who's raise your hand so I can see. Okay. Remove and Karen, so I've recused myself because it's an alley, right? So because it's on the agenda, can I vote? But you see what I'm saying? This is why.
Does the mayor pro tem have to call the vote then?
So it's three.
It's three.
So-
It's
so it
3-3.
would fail.
It
So the
fails.
motion would fail, so it would remain on the
Yeah,
agenda.
yeah,
We're 3-3.
yeah. So it remains on the agenda. It fails.
When we finally get to it, I think that this is going to be like a 30-second discussion, and eventually we'll get around to it.
All right. Thank you, board, for interesting discussion, and we'll move on to oh, yes, and thank you. And could we have a motion now since we rearranged the agenda now, can we adopt the agenda? Motion to adopt the agenda?
So move.
Okay, we have a motion by Alderman Kelly. Is there a second? Second by Alderman Davis. Any further discussion? Okay. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, motion carried. Thank you. Item G, approval of the consent agenda. Now, we have previous Board of Aldermen meeting minutes from 2025, and then we have the January 8th, 2026 Board of Aldermen meeting minutes as well. And then item G2 is a resolution opposing the Fuquay-Varina intrabasin transfer. And I will just go over these briefly for those who've not read it or who may not be aware of it. Basically, the town, and I'll be brief, the town of Fuquay-Varina has asked to remove 6 million gallons of water per day from the Cape Fear River, and they do not wish to return it back to the Cape Fear. So this would result in substantial adverse environmental and economic effects to the impacted communities, particularly those served by the Cape Fear Basin water utilities. So the City of Southport Board of Aldermen in this resolution formally opposes the town of Fuquay-Varina's intrabasin transfer. Again, this transfer of 6 million gallons of water from the Cape Fear River and then not returning it. A request and draft environmental impact statement as submitted and amended. So the city is opposing this. And so that is this resolution. And anything that has to do with impacting the environment, which this would do, Southport would routinely oppose. We're trying to protect our environment, and this resolution is one of the ways we're trying to do it. The next resolution is a resolution of opposing the North Carolina Environmental Management. And what they have, this has to do with the PFAS in 1,4-dioxane. So anything to do with putting PFAS in the water or decreasing the monitoring of PFAS, Southport would oppose. We're very public health, very environmentally oriented. We know these PFAS are human carcinogens, and there are over 10,000 of these synthetic chemicals, and they're used globally since the 1940s. And as you know, they're called the forever chemicals. And they have this strong carbon-fluorine bond. So that makes it resistant to heat, water, and oil, and it also prevents them from being broken down in water and in the human body. And so it's used in, as you know, nonstick cookware, stain-resistant fabrics and carpets, water-repellent clothing, and also in firefighting foams. So these chemicals just don't break down, and they increase the risk of causing problems with cholesterol, increase cancer risk, alter the immune system. So the City of Southport opposes any reduction, relaxation, or weakening of required testing, detection limits, or reporting standards for PFAS and 1,4-dioxane in surface waters or wastewater discharges, and urges the Environmental Management Commission to maintain or strengthen testing requirements consistent with the best available science. The board opposes any approach that allows industrial dischargers to self-monitor without independent verification, or that delays implementation of meaningful enforceable limits for PFAS and 1,4-dioxane discharges, thereby shifting the burden of treatment and risk onto local governments, water utilities, and the public. So basically, that is what those two resolutions do. They're to protect the environment. And the last item on the consent agenda, this is it's in your packet. We won't be discussing it tonight. We're just setting the public hearing for the March 12th, 2026 for the Unified Development Ordinance Amendment concerning vape and tobacco shops. Again, a public health issue. And we'll have the public hearing on March 12th. Information's in the packet. It'll also be online for the public to see, and then we'll discuss it then. But we're just setting the public hearing. So Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda? A motion by Alderman Carroll, a second by Alderman Kelly. Is there any discussion? Everyone's good with our environmental resolution? Good, I hope so.
I like trees.
Yeah, good. I hope I explained them as briefly but as intently as possible because it's very important. It's so important. All in favor? Any opposed? I believe it's unanimous. Thank you. Thank you, Board. Item H, special recognition. Police Lieutenant Matt Burgess, promotion to major. And I will call on Chief Todd Corey.
Good evening, Mayor, Board, and citizens. Just wanted to come before you tonight with a little bit of good news in reference to our police department. So Matt Burgess, who is standing here beside me, he was just a little bit about Matt. He was hired with Southport in January of 2020. He brought 13 years of experience with him from the Lincoln County Sheriff's Office. Multiple disciplines while working there: patrol investigations, narcotics, major crime SWAT, and scene reconstruction. Matt was hired with our agency as a detective. We brought him in with the vast experience across several disciplines. He hit the ground running, working alongside our patrol staff, officers, administration, building trust throughout our community. He was later promoted to detective sergeant, continuing to oversee our criminal investigations division to include our evidence technician operations and our detective. He played a vital role. If you recall, our courthouse sitting across the street when I came in 2018, it still had the evidence vault within that building. So we had a multitude of evidence that was still in the building. The prior police administration was using that for their evidence vault. So Matt played a vital role along with some other staff to take all that evidence and to process it, to manage how we needed to relocate and dispose of the years of evidence. So played a vital role there. His leadership and workmanship later earning him a promotion to lieutenant. So tonight I stand before you. His teamwork approach, enthusiasm, compassion, and drive has earned him to promotion to police major. If you recall, Major Burke retired in December of 2025, so that kind of left that role open. And he's done a great job, again, to maintain, took on additional roles. We kind of divided up Tony's roles. I have a patrol commander lieutenant, so he took on some of the operations, myself and Matt. And again, they've done a great job. I can't speak highly enough of my command staff, and they have done a great job. So I've learned a lot from him. The second in command is a very important role here. So he, in my absence, can make administrative decisions and do things that I could. So it's very important. This is a well thought out decision. It took a little while. And he's good to tell me to slow my roll. He likes to tell me that a lot. So, but that's good. You know, when I have things on my mind or have ideas, I come into office sometimes. They say I talk fast anyway, but I come in there, I'll shoot some things across the table, and they'll come in there and say, you don't need to do that. So Matt will tell me to slow my roll. So we work together well. He works very well with our staff. He's earned the trust of our citizens. I'm very proud to promote him. So he actually was promoted on January 30th. And I just wanted to come before you since this is our first meeting of our board, our elected officials, and our community. Matt is married. His wife is named Nikki. They live here in Southport. He's got 2 grown children, a son named Jacob, and who looks just like him, I might add. Yeah, and a daughter, Hannah. And he has now 2 grandchildren. He just witnessed the delivery of his grandson last week, so he's very excited about that. And he enjoys singing, fishing, and policing every day. So Matt, we're proud of you. So I just wanted to present him to you tonight. So thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations, and thank you for the work that y'all do. Thank you so much. Next item on the agenda is the Winterfest Tea presentation, and I'll call on Community Relations Director Elena Taylor and Lynn Guyman, Chair of the Tea Committee.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lynn Guyman, and I was the chair of this year's Winterfest Tea.
I'm here with some of my committee members as well as the community relations, and we are here to share the results of this year's tea. The tea is one of our most popular events for the holiday season. Right after the lighting of the Christmas tree, the next day, the tea takes place. It's held in here. It's a really lovely event, and this year, thanks to our members as well as our generous sponsors, we were able to raise almost $12,000, which I believe might be a record, but we were very happy with the results. What we do, the committee picks 3 or 4 charities each year in Southport or within Brunswick County. This year we chose Matthews Ministries, Christian Recovery Center, Southport Elementary PTA, and the Coast School. So I have some of the charities here. I believe someone from Christian Recovery is here. Yes.
Yes. Actually, if you'll just join us in the hallway after.
Okay. And we were seeing if somebody from Southport Elementary was able to come. Okay. All right. And Matthews Ministries and the Coast School could not make it, but they will be sent their checks. So we're looking forward to the 26th tea to do just as well. Thank everybody for their help.
Thank you. Next will be our special recognition, a proclamation for Black History Month. Okay, and for those of you who attended the Black History Symposium, it was a marvelous event, and so uplifting, so spiritual. They talked about the importance of education, and they had a Frank Gordon, who was an African American professor who taught at the Brunswick County Technical School here in Southport. And they had Donnie Joyner talk about his grandmother and what she overcame. And it was a marvelous story. And then we had Gospel Fest, and the music and the beauty and just the inspiration and the spirituality of it all, and the hymns. We're so fortunate to have that African American culture and history proclaimed. And I just want to thank those with the city that helped with that on that weekend, and thank Donnie Joyner and Liz Fuller from the Historical Society, and Gwen Warren, who did Gospel Fest. It was just magnificent, and I urge you all to attend next year. It's beautiful. So it's my honor to read this proclamation. Whereas Black History Month was formally adopted in 1976 to honor, recognize, and affirm the importance of Black history throughout the American experience. And whereas Black History Month is a time for all Americans to remember the stories and teachings of those who helped build our nation, who stood against prejudice to advance civil rights, and who strengthened families and communities. And whereas during Black History Month, all Americans are encouraged to reflect on the successes and challenges experienced by African Americans, and to look to the future with a renewed commitment to the ideals of freedom, equality, and justice. And whereas the city of Southport has been strengthened by the leadership and service of African American public servants, including Chief George McCracken, who in 1974 became the first Black police chief of the city of Southport and one of the first Black police chiefs in North Carolina, and Gloria Stanley, the first Black female police officer of Southport, both of whom helped pave the way for greater opportunity for law enforcement. And whereas Southport has also been shaped by the dedicated service of Howard Lee, who faithfully served the city for 15 years and retired as Assistant Chief of Police, and Nelson Adams, Southport's first Black alderman and one of the longest serving members of the board, whose leadership helped guide our community, and many others whose dedication has helped shape our community. And now therefore be it proclaimed that the city of Southport hereby designates the month of February 2026 as Black History Month and encourages all citizens to recognize, celebrate, and honor the lasting contributions of African Americans to our community and our nation. Next item will be agenda item I1, and that will be the noise, I believe the noise ordinance. I feel like I've heard a lot of noise already today. Now, come on, that was funny. Now, come on, board. What's wrong with y'all? Wake up, a little humor. Come on. No, we've had a good discussion. Good discussion so far. Now, yes, the noise ordinance part of it is because something has come up. Is that right, Planning Director? And that the city has responded, and I'll call on Maureen Meehan for this discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor and members of Board of Aldermen. To increase the effectiveness of the city's efforts to regulate the noise ordinance and to provide clear direction when identifying and citing violations in the city ordinances, staff offers this amendment to the noise ordinance. The proposed amendment is to the City Code of Ordinances, Chapter 9, Article 2, and Division 3. Specifically, it adds the definition of heavy equipment to Section 9-91 and adds a new subsection to Section 9-93 that outlines the days and times that heavy equipment may be used for land moving activities on residentially zoned properties or properties abutting residentially zoned properties. The proposed time of day when the regulations apply are consistent with those current times for construction activities, with the exception that heavy equipment may not be used on Saturdays or Sundays. So I have, maybe not, well, I had this on the board, but I will just go through. So heavy equipment, yes, thank you, Cheyenne. Oh, might be. There you go. So to go through the amendments themselves, Section 9-91, the addition of the heavy equipment definition is earth-moving construction or industrial equipment that is mobile, weighs 6,000 pounds or more, and is a self-propelled vehicle that is not designed to be driven on a highway.
Can I
yes, ma'am.
interrupt you and could you give us an example of one of those? Is it
that
like
would be
a bulldozer?
A bulldozer, yes. An excavator, bulldozer, correct.
But my zero turn is not in the
That's
fray
correct.
here.
Yes.
All right.
So we wanted to the weight that was chosen was so that any normal landowner or property owner could do some improvements on their property on the weekend and not be restricted by these rules that are being proposed. So then the Section 9-93, which is the days and times, the operation of heavy equipment used for grading, excavation, clearing, filling, or any combination thereof on any residentially zoned property or any property abutting a residentially zoned property is only permitted between the hours of 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. For the purpose of this subsection, properties are abutting even if separated by a street, railroad, or other transportation corridors. No land moving activities shall occur on the following holidays: Memorial Day, 4th of July, Labor Day, Thanksgiving Day, Christmas Day, and New Year's Day, except for any emergency work necessary to protect life, health, property, or as otherwise authorized by this ordinance. So staff offers this amendment for your consideration, and we recommend approval as it has been presented to you.
Any questions, board, for Ms. Behan?
I have a couple of questions. One of the things that I've brought up several times is a decibel level for a noise ordinance. I know that the decibel readers might be expensive, but it's an opportunity, possibly looking in the future, to have a measurable way to decide what is loud beyond heavy equipment. And I know that other municipalities in the area do have decibel readers and do have an ordinance that includes not only the decibel level, but also the distance from the location of where the noise is. So it's Sunset Beach, for example, has when sound is plainly audible at a distance of 50 feet or more from its source. So it would be, walk it out 50 feet and you pull out the reader. And if you can hear, if the decibel reader is beyond a certain level at this distance, then it would be against the noise ordinance. If it is not at that level, then just because a neighbor's annoyed doesn't necessarily mean that it's a violation of the noise ordinance. So I would love to see some language around that, perhaps not in this, but just for future reference. And then I do have some qualms about no weekends, because certainly if someone's trying to get their home built and done quickly, if they've got a timeline, for us to restrict them being able to do it on weekends, I think is restrictive for their loan, possibly the contractors that they have. And not all contractors will work on the weekends anyway, but if they find somebody who will, because they have a timeline that they need to get their property finished in, I think that it's not right for us to restrict it. Perhaps we could look at a later start time in the morning on weekends, but I would just hesitate to restrict weekends. And then the last thing, I promise, pile driving. I don't know that a pile driver would, I don't know if that would fall under the heavy equipment. Okay, I just want to make sure that that would, because that is one of the things that it doesn't matter when they start, it is literally shaking everyone around for the duration of that process. So that's okay. Thank you.
I do want to point out that this doesn't change the construction activity that is allowed on Saturdays. So if someone is in the process of building and their contractor is on site, they are allowed to be there 7 to 6 on Saturdays. This is really just clearing or grading.
I understand. I just, if I need to get my property done because I've got a contractor who can start next Tuesday and I'm willing to pay extra money for my property to be cleared and they can fit me in Saturday, then I don't want to be restricted and not able to do that.
I also like to speak to this particular proposal. Thank you for bringing it to our attention. I certainly am not opposed to having clarification of our noise ordinance as it relates to heavy equipment. I share Rebecca's concerns about restrictions on the weekend. How this might impact the homeowner, how it impacts the person who owns or operates that equipment. They can't make a living on Saturday now or Sunday because of this restriction. So you're restricting someone's ability to earn an income basically on the weekend if they're a heavy equipment operator. I'm also curious how you reached 6 p.m. and did you consider something a little later, like 7 p.m. during daylight savings time? Or what was your decision based to limit it till 6 p.m.?
those are the hours that construction activities are allowed. So I just mirrored those that are already existing in the noise ordinance. So the construction activity is allowed between the hours of 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. Monday through Saturday. So it's just mirroring those existing.
Okay, so it's just mirroring, mirroring this construction. Yeah, I just want to be real careful as we regulate Southport. We want to regulate fairly, reasonably, use common sense. We don't want to overregulate, because when we overregulate, sometimes bad things happen. We might lose our ETJ. We might get sued and incur tens of thousands of dollars worth of lawsuits. So I am concerned about reasonable and fair regulation, which I support, but over-regulation I do not support. So I want us to be real careful. And, you know, I share Rebecca's concerns. I don't think we should restrict it on Saturday and Sunday. I understand mirroring the 6 p.m. versus I would probably lean to 7 p.m. during daylight savings time. Holidays, you know, what if the holiday falls on a Monday? We're going to restrict working on Memorial Day on a Monday. I'm not sure that I've reached a conclusion on that one, but that's certainly another one. So the holidays and the weekends cause me the most heartburn. The time, since it mirrors the other construction UDO ordinance requirement to end at 6. I understand that. I'd probably love to see a little more flexibility for daylight savings time. But anyway, thank you for bringing this to our attention, and those are my comments.
Just one observation here. You said that if it was in a building state and a contractor was on site, that this wouldn't have an effect.
This is only for the true grading, excavation, clearing, or filling, or a combination of those. So if they are in the middle of constructing the home itself, that it will not affect this, or this will not affect that.
And this is more directed at the personal property owner doing their own work, is what you're saying.
No, this is just for the land clearing portion. So there's already a section in this section 9-93 for construction activity. So demolition, alteration, repair of any residential or commercial building is only permitted between the hours of 7 and 6 Monday through Saturday. And then it also lists the same holidays, which they are not allowed to do construction activities. So this is separate from the construction activities in the sense that this is when you have a vacant lot and you're or just moving land or grading on a piece of property.
Karen.
Yeah, the purpose of this ordinance, as far as I can see, is this has to do, I'm sorry, what? You're good. The purpose of this proposed ordinance update is to take care of residential areas that abut these construction sites with this heavier equipment that is a lot louder. It has to, that we have no way to regulate those interactions without this update. And when projects abut residential properties, that's what this is. It's out in the middle of somewhere, it doesn't matter. So, but this is really needed to, in order for staff to be able to have any kind of conversation about impacts.
Well, our entire
Karen, would you say that last part again about impacts?
Well, in order to have, to mitigate impacts of noise from big heavy equipment, not just regular construction or hammering or nails or roofing or any of that thing. This is like big heavy equipment, and to help mitigate those impacts on existing residences that abut things, properties, projects.
Our entire business district abuts residential. So that would.
Right. But they're not using heavy equipment, slamming around heavy equipment on the weekends.
We're talking like, I mean, I have had phone calls, and I don't know if this is what that came out of, but we're talking machinery that actually shakes neighboring homes. So what shakes neighboring homes. So while someone is trying to peacefully enjoy their property, they're being disturbed. And I appreciate the comments by both Alderman Kelly and Alderman Gross. But I don't see and I appreciate that people, are working as late as they can sometimes. But at the same time, you'd like to be able to sit on your back porch or your front porch and not have to deal with that. And I think that that's fair and reasonable.
My days off are Monday and Tuesday, so I want it quiet on Monday and Tuesday.
You've not sat on your porch on a Saturday or Sunday?
I'm working on Saturday and Sunday.
You've sat on your porch on a Saturday.
I have not.
And could I just say that I object to Sunday? Allowing all of this on Sunday? Unless people have comment about the substance of this, let me point out that as a general policy, not a voted on policy, but a general policy, we don't vote on an ordinance or an ordinance amendment the first time it's discussed, because a lot of people don't read the packet beforehand. This may be the first time that people listening to this meeting or present know about this. So at the next meeting, the March meeting, we would have an opportunity to hear from anybody who wants to speak on it, and then we would have the opportunity to vote.
You're referring to public hearing policy or unspoken public hearing policy. This is not a public hearing.
This is a code of ordinance, so it doesn't require a public hearing.
I'm aware of that, but just because it doesn't require it doesn't mean that we don't want to hear from people about it.
If they wanted to come, it's like, it's like excuse me, let me just get this out, because this is compared to the planning board appointments that you removed. That information was out there. This agenda is out there. If someone wants to come and speak about a code of ordinance, they can come. They have to, we put it out there, but we can't make them come to the meeting to speak. But we want to hear from our citizens, absolutely.
But
we could get around to it someday.
Is there really?
I'm on fire.
For 6 years, we have been not voting on an amendment to an ordinance or an ordinance until after we have heard from people and we bring it up at the next meeting.
That's not true. I'll find you plenty over the last 12 months.
I don't understand why we're rushing into this. Are there cement mixers busy right now?
Yes.
Oh dear.
Yes, they're not. They're massive bulldozers that I have been getting. I have had to sit with city staff. Other members of this board have sat with city staff to discuss this. People are outraged. They can't even sit there and have a conversation with the person on their porch without this machinery moving dirt. So yeah, they are a little frustrated.
I'm sorry we should probably have pictures because we have been there. The house shakes, the equipment is huge, moving massive amounts of dirt, and it's just interrupting this neighborhood. And so what we're trying to do is give them some relief. And this is really not a lot to ask in that regard.
I agree, and I'm going to vote for it as written. Eliminating the weekends, especially Sundays. But I always lean toward giving the public as much opportunity to speak as possible. And you have a lot of faith in people's going and looking on the website and looking at the packet over and over and over again. I hear from people who are very interested in things that are going on, but who just don't do that, or they're not familiar enough with the process for it to be second nature to go read the packet beforehand.
Mo, what is the current regulation for construction, timing wise?
Timing wise, construction is allowed 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Saturday.
Okay. I'm prepared to make a motion. I'd like to, I make a motion that we approve the updates to Chapter 9, Article 2, Division 3 of the Southport Code of Ordinances with the exception of Saturday. I would like for it to mirror the current construction ordinance.
I second that motion.
We're eliminating, your motion eliminates Saturday too, right?
No, my motion
think we
allows
get,
construction Saturday, but not on Sunday.
any benefit from it if you're giving it also for Saturday. I mean, I think it's fair and reasonable to think that major construction should go on through a weekday so that people have the quiet enjoyment of their homes on weekends. That, I mean, at the very least, they're already living with whatever. And to think that they can't have the quiet enjoyment of their home on the weekends, because we're singling this out separate from construction. This is major heavy duty construction. So I disagree with that.
So we have a motion and a second to add Saturday, but take off Sunday. That's fine. The time is fine. So the only change that Alderman Kelly is suggesting, and I'm seconding, is to allow equipment on Saturday.
And what Alderman Mosteller was trying to relay is that this is a special consideration. This is heavy equipment that's moving dirt and banging and shaking the very windows of this of a neighborhood. And so limiting it Monday through Friday is not unreasonable.
Not everyone has the same days off. Not everyone has Saturday and Sunday off.
He's
we
not
both
going to
work.
push dirt forever. There is an end game. We're making a policy because of one situation that's going to affect people for years, decades. He won't be pushing dirt much longer. I've seen it. He won't. You can't push much more dirt there. You can't do much more. So we're creating something that really won't attach to the gentleman that y'all are creating this policy for. One person. That's what's happening.
Well, I think that I don't disagree with you, and I had nothing to do with the creation of this. Right, I was not a participant in this. I didn't even suggest it as an option. I didn't know what the options were. I do think that there's going to be a hell of a lot more of this as soon as Indigo starts calling.
Like y'all said, all you had to do was make a phone call to him and he probably would have handled it. Everybody needs to pick up the phone.
So Oak Island right now is finishing their beach renourishment project. That is heavy equipment that has been going 24/7, including holidays, since November-ish. Don't quote me on dates. I don't remember exactly. But it shakes. It is lights in the windows in the middle of the night. It is, no, full disclosure, I manage properties on Oak Island. I've had to move guests from homes from one to another because it disrupted their sleep. We're not talking about into late hours. We're not talking about keeping people from with lights in their windows at night because we're clearing the lot next door. So that's just something to think about.
Will this come into play when we do shoreline stabilization? Are we going to tell them they can't do it on Saturday and Sunday and just pay for it? It leaks into a lot of things.
Is it going to be noisy?
If they're placing rocks on top of rocks, it probably will be. And then they're going to have heavy equipment in order to do that.
The noise ordinance exempts any city work from this, so that would be exempted.
That's not fair. Do as we say, not as we do is not okay.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, and it excludes Saturday. So it's only Sunday that you're not able to do this work. Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed?
Aaron? Yeah, I'm gonna vote because I had a question, but I didn't get in with my question of the planning director. I hate, y'all are already in a vote, so.
Well, that's okay. Go ahead.
The mayor said, go ahead.
My question to Mo was, do these kind of restrictions exist in other communities?
To be fair, I don't know if they do a separate heavy equipment / grading or construction only. I know that construction is in other cities and jurisdictions.
Okay. Thank you.
So
Question
you
was
need
for
to,
Mo. Is this any benefit? Does this add any benefit to the residential properties that are adjacent to this construction by allowing it on Saturday?
I mean, I would say that you certainly have a better benefit with this provision than you do today. I don't think, if you're trying to limit it to its fullest effect in the residential area, having Sunday gets to that fullest restrictive level if that's what you're looking for. So it's a matter of what is your balancing in the equation? Are you overcoming residential needs better? Are you overcoming commercial needs? How you reach that equilibrium?
This will be an issue, and it probably already is an issue, frankly, with waterway. And that's the real deal. And frankly, if you look at the number of people that surround waterway, you look at the Indigo residents, you look at Cades Cove, you look at all of those areas around there. I mean, there are a lot of people that will benefit from this. So I get that the concept might have come from one or two examples, but I think, we're at the point of a vote. Karen, where are you?
I would be in favor of it if there's any benefit to it that way. If that empowers staff to be able to help existing residential owners. I mean, I'm in favor for the way it's written, truthfully. But if this is a benefit, then at least it's a piece more than we have. That's my question.
so at least you save Sunday. I mean, there's some benefit. Your football game's going to be interrupted, college football, but pro football, you'll be okay.
We're yelling loud enough. We don't
Yeah.
even hear it.
So, anyway, so that would be a 4-2.
Did she say yes or no?
I think she said yes.
Well, because
Did you say no?
I want to know, did you answer was my question answered about would this provide some staff ability to help adjacent residential property owners with
It gives them one
helping
day.
mitigate?
It gives them one day, and what we're asking for is 2 days.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, then something's better than nothing. So I'll vote for it because something's better than nothing, and we can revisit it.
So that's 4-2. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right. The motion passes. Saturday, they can work. Sunday cannot. Is that correct? Okay. Thank y'all. Thank you, board. All right. Item I2. My goodness, it's another ordinance. This time it's the event ordinance. And I think this one will go well because it talks about permits and street closures and how we coordinate events to make sure that they're safe and festive and protects the public health while supporting community events. So I will call on Elena Dale Taylor.
Hi, everybody. Tonight, I'm presenting the proposed event ordinance for your consideration. This item was previously introduced and tabled primarily due to a discussion surrounding fees. There have been no substantive changes to this ordinance since that time. So it's essentially the same ordinance that I presented prior. At its core, this ordinance centralizes the review process for events that disrupt the normal flow of downtown operations. As activity in Southport continues to grow, event requests increasingly impact traffic, public safety, staffing, emergency access, and downtown business operations. Currently, that coordination takes place without a single intake or standardized review process. This ordinance creates one clear point of submission through the Community Relations Department, ensuring coordinated review among departments. Regarding the fees, all event-related operational fees were previously adopted as part of the city's annual fee schedule. This ordinance does not change any of those fees. The only addition is a $100 application fee upon submission, which would not apply to city-sponsored events. This fee would help offset administration coordination time and establish the shared responsibility amongst the department and the coordinating event. It would not cover the full cost of staff involvement, and the city would continue to absorb the majority of the costs. This ordinance is not about restricting events. It's about structure, predictability, and involvement as we continue to grow our events in Southport. If we want to continue supporting events while safeguarding city operations, a centralized and consistent process is necessary. I respectfully ask for your consideration, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Mr. Mayor, I was remiss in not asking to be recused from this for an ethical reason. This directly affects the Smith Cemetery Foundation, and I'm on the board of that. And we have concerns about this. Unless we enshrine the city as a co-sponsor, and we haven't decided, I don't think that we've reached resolution on that, then this affects the Smith Cemetery Foundation, which is the sole sponsor of the Memorial Day Parade, which closes roads and so on. And so this is a direct effect on that. So I'm not going to discuss or be part of this.
Your role is, you're on the board of directors. I think that's appropriate.
Yes, that's fine. Okay, so basically you said you've presented this before, so.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, good. So board, any questions for the community relations?
Well, what has been done?
Yes, I have some conversation. Hello?
Go ahead.
Yes.
Karen.
Okay. I want to first thank staff for bringing this to the board, but I would like to ask that feedback be gotten from the actual local event organizers, and to hold a meeting with the Wooden Boat Show, the Holidays event, could be Lowe's, the Smith Cemetery, the 4th of July Committee, Garden Club, Historical Society, Home Tour, Cape Fear Cruisers, Car Show, Lions Club, the Unity Group, and DSI. I think there's all of these local events organizers that it would benefit, this policy would benefit by sitting down with them. And I would ask that we table this tonight and ask staff to create that conversation. And I'd also ask that staff include police and fire and Parks and Rec and Public Works in that meeting to have that conversation about fees and just the different things. I think that would be really helpful in getting the policy the most robust it could be. So I would ask that we table this.
Is that a motion?
Is that a motion to table this?
I'll put that in the form of a motion to table it with that conversation.
With yes, table with.
I'll second that motion, and then I'd like to have some discussion.
So we have a motion and a second. Okay. Further discussion. Go ahead, Alderman Kelly.
The local businesses who particularly this time of year are barely hanging on, sometimes try and do events as well. That extra $100 makes a difference in their bottom line, makes a difference in their ability to do some of those things. As I understand it, the previous way that this was done was a form sent to the police department, and then it was approved for some things. I see a whole bunch of shaking heads at me.
No, so the current form on the website does come to community relations. Community relations is taking forms at this time. The form that we take in does not have a fee associated with it. And to be honest with you, the fee that my department would be obtaining, I'd be fine if you guys just said, don't even do that. The problem comes, and the reason why we're trying to centralize this is because we have no way currently for the fees already adopted by the fee schedule to then be charged to these organizations who are incurring these fees, because there's no centralized point for us to be able to do that. And that was the original intent of the ordinance. Both chiefs and I have talked a lot about the need for something like this. A lot of times in town, we don't find out about events until after they're already happening. And that is a public safety issue. And so that's where this stemmed from and why we created the ordinance to begin with.
I don't have an issue with the ordinance so much as the fee associated with it.
So as
And
Elena,
this doesn't, sorry.
so as Elena said, the only thing this ordinance does that is not currently in place is the $100 fee for the permit.
And scrap it. I'm fine with that.
So when we receive feedback now from or a request for an event, myself, Elena, the chiefs, Parks and Rec, Public Safety, Public Works, we all coordinate these events. We never want to be in a situation where we have 10 events in the same Saturday that has 100, 500 people apiece. So this takes everything we've been doing, everything we will continue to do absent this ordinance, minus the $100 fee, and packages it all together. So if the board takes no action tonight, we will essentially continue to do all this anyways, except for the $100 fee. So what the ordinance does is already in place, absent a formal ordinance and a $100 fee.
I'm
paying
Alderman
attention.
Alderman Monsteller, would you amend that motion to remove the $100 fee? Or to remove any fee?
She
Pass
said
it
she
as.
wants- You mean amend, table
Well,
it?
would you, I guess, take away that?
Yes, my point is we do have some kind of existing process that's been going on out there, but I think it would be beneficial to sit down with the actual events organizers that do a lot of the events, not just the business people that do their business events, but all these other organizations, and sit down and just have a robust conversation about that, because the permit may be improved because of that. The permitting process and making sure what they understand and how it works and all of that. I mean, we're just postponing it 1 month, but it's not like there's a crisis.
Staff certainly is fine with doing that. We have regular communications with the event organizers, myself with the business community and the business roundtable. Elena speaks to them regularly. So again, whether or not the ordinance is adopted tonight, the process will continue to be the same, absent the $100 fee, and we will continue to engage our partners whether or not the ordinance is approved or not.
So it came to us before, right? And remind me what we did at that time.
So the fees were discussed at that time. I also, upon Alderman Montsteller's request, printed out copies of the fee schedule for you guys, because part of the question was, what fees have we already adopted that might be incurred to these event organizers? And I just highlighted some of the examples of, again, already adopted fees, what might be incurred. And you guys had a discussion about maybe revisiting some of those fees. And then at that time, I think the conversation just sort of died, which is why it's being brought back up.
So those fees that could or might be in addition to the $100?
Those fees are already adopted by the fee schedule, and the city, in theory, could start charging them tomorrow because they've already been adopted. There's just no formal process to even let event organizers know what may be incurred.
So
There-
for example, the
But
fire
right now, they're
department
not.
fees,
The tent fee.
there's tent fees that the fire department incurs currently. If somebody needs an off-duty officer, specially assigned to them, they pay for that themselves. The city doesn't provide an off-duty officer. So there's certain charges that are already in the ordinance.
Correct.
So
Already in the
are they
budget.
paying them now or they're not?
No, because there's
So all
no,
of these things that you're talking about, we're not collecting this money already.
No, I think in theory we could today. It's already in the budget ordinance. It's already adopted as part of the fee schedule. We have not moved forward with enacting that, even though it's the board's policy of fee schedules to package it all together in one conversation.
right.
So we're certainly happy to revisit that in the budget process. If fees are not, we never want to be in a situation where we're overly taxing fees on nonprofits. And we also don't want the city bearing the cost for a for-profit event either.
Has the rate committee met to discuss the fees that might be?
No, that's normally a part of the budget process, so we'll do that in the next few months.
We need to make sure we add the fee to it also.
And the fee for the fee.
Can I get a piece? So we got bogged down when the Unity Committee came up here, the people that sponsor kickball and things that are not generating a lot of money, and they really couldn't afford to do this. And the problem was, will we be the co-sponsor or not? If we're the co-sponsor, that Unity Committee would not have to pay that $100 fee, right?
Yeah, that just goes for the $100 fee for this permit specifically.
Yes. And so we, at the end of that conversation, one suggestion that an alderman had was to make a list of preferred vendors that can get that waiver. People that year after year have proven that they're reliable, they're doing good things for the city, and they're on that list and they don't pay the $100 fee. And Unity in the community, I'm sorry if I mispronounce it, but I'm not stopping the kickball games.
And I think you could address
Not because of
that.
$100.
You could address that by inserting language that says the city manager is authorized to waive all applicable events fees for nonprofits.
But we
Well,
also
why
have
don't we-
small businesses.
Yeah, why
in
don't we,
town.
if we're going to adopt this tonight, I think the big issue is that there could be fees incurred. So there's two things we could do. Adopt it tonight and hold off on any fees until we adopt the next budget. Right? That gives the rate committee opportunity to review the rates, come back to us with a recommendation. Does that sound?
I have never held an event at my hotel, so this is not a conflict of interest thing. So I'm bringing it up as just something to think about. If I wanted to hold an event at my hotel on my own private property, I would not have to contact the city to get a permit to do so, correct?
Correct, as long as it was 500 attendees or less and did not impede streets or sidewalks.
Now, let's say that there are approximately 4, not marked parking spaces, but there's the parallel line there. Let's say I wanted to use the equivalent of 4 of those spaces.
Yes.
Now I've got to pay $100.
Now you have to submit the permit, pay a $100 fee, and there would be no other fees incurred via our current adopted fee schedule. Correct.
So I just want to have a community open house and set up some tables, and now I can't do that without paying $100.
Or staying on your property limits. Correct.
So
I think perhaps the best path forward is to create an ad hoc committee, take the conversation even out of the fee committee, and have that ad hoc committee address the whole ordinance and event fees. And then we can fold that into the budget fees so that the board then addresses all these concerns around the ordinance.
Alderman Mosteller, would you amend your motion to include that language?
Point of
I
order,
have
I think
a lot of, to amend what language? Repeat the language.
I think the best possible motion is just to table it with no date certain, Then we will come back, have conversations with the fee committee, have conversations with our community partners, work on the language and bring it back.
So there are some,
Absolutely. In my motion to include that language.
And I'll second that.
and just one other question to her point. In her situation, she would only incur the $100 fee.
Correct.
But in some situations, it would be the $100 fee plus other fees compounded, perhaps.
The fees currently adopted by the fee schedule, correct?
Okay.
Yeah, so if I put a tent next to my building, then I get charged for the tent also.
And that goes to fire code.
And again, that could happen today even without this permit. I just want to make that crystal clear.
I understand. I just think us taxing the public to death to try and do something that makes our community better is not okay.
Are you okay, Elena?
Yeah.
Okay.
Standing, I'm like.
Point of order, could the motion be restated?
So the motion is to table indefinitely, no date certain. We'll have conversations with our community partners and the fee committee, maybe a special committee, and bring it back at a future meeting.
Police chief says.
Hello, good evening. So just to be clear, the police department, we don't charge people for officers. We don't get any fees for this. As the police chief, as your police chief, my main concern is public safety. We are getting more and more events. I had an event yesterday, had 3 events the day before. People are requesting more and more permissions to close roads. And you mentioned the roundtable that y'all speak at. The businesses call me wanting to know why I continue to close roads. So my issue is, well, whoever speaks or whatever committee or whatever happens, if y'all could kind of expedite just that, because we have weddings now that are wanting to close Bay Street. I've got a pending request I sent to Elena. They're wanting to close this section of Bay Street to have a wedding. And their response is, you closed the street so so-and-so could do this, and you closed the street so so-and-so could do that. I can't tell y'all how nervous I get every time we close roads. If you look at the news, we are constantly seeing all kinds of horrific things where people are driving into crowds. So we have purchased, thank you for allowing that, we have purchased Waterfield level 3 barricades that are required by NCDOT guidelines. So we have to install those. That has Public Works come out. They have to fill those. They have to come remove them. They have to use heavy equipment to do that. So my request for you all is just to be thinking about that. I just need an answer, because we're continuously getting requests to close our streets. And I know that impacts businesses. It impacts travel. A lot of people, they come into Southport and they don't know what's going on. They come straight down House Street and they run into a barricade. We don't have detour signs put up. We don't have that kind of process in place. So people turn off and get on Atlantic Avenue and they don't know where to go. So just be mindful of that when you're trying to create all this. I'm all about events. We just need an answer, because Elena, sometimes I get a request to my office. Sometimes Heather will get a request to her office. Sometimes they go to Elena. So right now we're all trying to funnel around, and we're working with Noah. He hears our concern there. So we just need some kind of direction, so we can, respond back to these folks. But that's my main concern. So thank y'all.
Well, it sounds like this is not ready yet. I mean, it's good discussion, but the key is the public health and safety for these events. That there's one area in which this application goes to, and then it goes out from there. But so the city knows how many, when, so they're not 10 events same weekend. I agree with you, board and manager, and I think this is a good discussion. And so the motion is to table it indefinitely and to regroup on this and then move forward. Is that reasonable, board? So all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carried. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Taylor. And thank you, Chief. The next item will be the public comment policy update, and I will call on our city manager, Noah Aldermen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As the board will recall, you adopted a public participation, public comment policy in November to set the parameters of conduct around those public comment sessions and public hearings. I've heard from the mayor and several board members and community members that you'd like to expand upon that to require a time limit. The addition to the current policy before you is a 3-minute time limit for individuals, 8 minutes for a spokesperson for groups. It also, instead of having the clerk read any letters, it directs it be sent to the board. Ms. Bray brought up some good points that I want to address. Currently, for her question on when public comment is allowed, under the current policy that the board adopted in November, it states that public comment shall be held at all regular meetings. So in practice in the past and in that policy, it says regular meetings, so that doesn't include any special called work sessions or any other emergency or special meetings other than your regular monthly meetings. So that's already within policy. And then she brought up a good point about how the public can see the letters that the clerk sends to you all. So we're certainly open to suggestions on that. I think we have a time before the meetings where we could get some of those received in the agenda packet that we would immediately forward them on to the board. I think we can put any we received before the meeting as the agenda goes out in the packet. And then the concern is after the packet goes out, if we receive any in that week, we would certainly could amend the packet. We could certainly put them on the website, forward them in that way. And then in the minutes as well, we could reference them as well. So however the board is comfortable with that.
If we are going to impose a time limit, I would also suggest that if we could continue to read them until time.
Right, or we could just say the 3-minute time limit applies to letters, and if you want the clerk to continue to read those, we'll just stop it after 3 minutes and ask folks that send them in to keep it short to the 1 page that was suggested as well.
I have a lot to say on this, but if anybody else wants to say stuff first.
I agree with the 3-minute time limit being read into the record for things that are emailed or mailed in to us prior to. I'd also, I believe, and Noah, correct me if I'm wrong, this is the same policy that the county has at their planning board and board of adjustment and commissioners meetings and any other meetings that I may have missed.
Right, that's correct. Pretty much all counties and municipalities have that 3-minute rule. The county is more restrictive. They restrict it to 30 minutes of total time. So not only individual time, but total time for the board meetings. This is more lenient and is open to as much time as is required for public hearings or public comment, just that 3-minute individual rule.
Yeah, Robert and Karen and I recently spent 2 lovely days at UNC Wilmington. We rode down there together and had a lovely trip and some really good training. And correct me if I'm wrong, Robert, but one of the things that came out of that 2 days of training for newly elected aldermen and those who had been reelected is the overwhelming majority of municipalities do have a 3-minute time limit. Is that not correct, Robert?
Yeah, absolutely. I was a little surprised to hear that because we hadn't had one for a while. So,
yeah,
but yeah, they did.
Okay. And I do have concerns about not allowing written comment. And right now I'm sort of leaning strongly to allowing written comment to be read up to the 3-minute mark. And then they could be posted or added to wherever, Noah. So yeah, I think last meeting I had COVID. I couldn't make it. And I was grateful to be allowed to call in. Well, if a citizen has COVID or some other medical issue or conflict, I think their voice needs to be heard. So I support written comment being read as part of our policy, keeping it to the same limit as 3 minutes.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that at least, I know it's not in the form of a motion, but that a 3-minute time limit is good with this board, and that the letters, emails, smoke signals, whatever comes in, as long as it's not over 3 minutes, we can, we'll read them up to the 3-minute mark.
Okay.
Yes.
Every time this has come up, I've raised considerable objections. Maybe I just need to do it louder. I don't know. But why were we elected? We were elected to represent the people of Southport. We can't do that unless we have given them the opportunity to tell us what they think, what they want, what their concerns are. And very few people are polished public speakers who can say what they want to say in 3 minutes. Even if they write it out and time themselves saying it, they may very well go over that. And you know, in the 6 years that I've been an alderman, we have never put a time limit. In fact, as soon as Mayor Hayden and I were elected in, I guess it was January 2020, we removed that 3-minute restriction because we had just come off a year and a half of very contentious public comment over some pretty bad things that were going on. And over and over again, public speakers who had really substantive things to say and well-researched things to say. You hit that 3-minute mark and the city clerk, not the current city clerk, would start hitting that bell, bang, 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 and continue to do so until you sat down. Is this who we are? I don't think it is. Why are we even thinking about limiting people's opportunity to say what they want to say, however long it takes? I mean, think about how few people are comfortable getting up there, pressing a button, and trying to say their piece, trying to make us aware of things that we don't know, perhaps, in 3 minutes. I will give you a perfect example of why this proved to be an excellent policy that I think we should keep, which is no time limit. I think it was 2 years ago or maybe a little less, Jabbertown Road residents came to us, and there were about a dozen of them, and they were so upset because we, as a city, were planning to run a sewer line down Jabbertown Road, really affecting their properties. And interestingly enough, Jabbertown Road is not a city road. But those folks got up. Every one of them had something to say that I personally did not know about. They talked about the trees. They talked about disruption. They talked about the history of the community. And we ended up, after learning from 7 or 8 people, one of whom spoke for almost 8 minutes, simply because she was having trouble getting her point organized and spoken. She was very flustered. We ended up voting not to do that and doing the sewer line a different way. Basically, it comes down to this. We're even thinking about putting a time limit on people for our convenience. And I ask you, is this who we are? I don't think so. We all, when we campaign, we tell people we want to hear from you. We are going to represent you. We can't do that if we don't give them the opportunity to tell us. And yeah, they can call us, they can email us, but if they are brave enough to get here, walk to the podium in front of people, which already makes people, many people quite flustered, get there, hit the button, and start to speak. It's a kindness not to make this limited to 3 minutes. And I know that the county does it, and I know that other cities do it. But we're not those other cities. We are not the county. I've been to several county commission meetings, especially ones where there was a big issue. One of them was a second swimming pool closer to Southport. And little kids got up trying to advocate for a swimming pool closer to South Brunswick High School because their swim team was having to go all the way out to the indoor swimming pool at the community college. It was a big problem. And those little kids, one of them was 6 years old. It took her more than 3 minutes to say what she wanted to say. Did she get the extra seconds, extra minutes? No. She was buzzed to sit down. And she was standing there in her bathing suit and her little inflatable donut. And she went back to her seat and cried. Now, that's an extreme example. I don't think we're going to make people, maybe we do. But the point is, give people the chance to say what they want to say and not have to worry about the fact that a bell's going to start hitting them in the ear. A bell, a gavel, or whatever. We need to hear what people say. And if it is an inconvenience to us, if it makes the meeting go longer, so be it. That's what we ask for when we campaigned and asked people to vote for us.
You said it so well.
Do you actually agree with me?
I don't disagree with you.
Well, thank you.
So what I will say is that the current public comment policy that we put into place does limit a lot of things that would lead to excessive use of time. So I appreciate that. I think that I could go either way on this one, though.
And that this may have, I don't know why this has come up at all, because really, this is not who we
What I
are.
would
We
say
haven't done it.
is that, Lo, I appreciate everything you've said. We are all very accessible day in and day out. And so when we have a meeting where people go on long time through public comments that go on for an hour or two, we lose people that wanted to hear the whole meeting or participate in the whole meeting. This is a matter of organization as much as it is anything, as far as I'm concerned. And I can agree with Alderman Gross' assessment of allowing for 3 minutes of reading of a letter that we get, or an email that we get, instead of just posting it. So I could support that, and I would make a motion to that end, to the 3 minutes, all the language as it was presented, with the exception of adding that 3 minutes of email or whatever would be read in.
Okay, we have a motion for 3 minutes and to read a comment that's sent in for at least 3 minutes. And I take credit and for we removed the 3 minute limit and when I first took office, and you're accurate there, Reverend Alderman Lowe Davis, because the people were being cut off just so acutely. But then I think people took took it too long, where they speak 5, 7, 10 minutes, and so it kind of made the meetings. An hour of public comment is a long time, and so it did. I think people left the meeting. So if someone's at the 3 minute mark, I won't cut them off if they're tell them to kind of sum up. We'll give them maybe 5 minutes. I mean, we're not going to gong them at 3 minutes, but we need some sort of way to keep the meeting going forward. So we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, a second from Alderman Kelly. Any further discussion?
I'd like to say a couple things about this. I think that Alderman Mosteller's point is well received. We are readily accessible. I cannot walk through Walmart or Lowe's Food, or I had to start riding my bike through Southport because I was being stopped so regularly I couldn't actually walk for exercise. So I started riding my bike rather than walking, so that way I could get the exercise piece of it. But we are around, and our cell phone numbers are public, our email addresses are public, and quite frankly, our addresses are public. I've had people come knock on my door to come talk to me about things. To her point as well, we've had speakers who were on the agenda who left before their time came to speak because our public comment ran so long. So we've had people that were scheduled to speak and just simply couldn't wait any longer because it got too late in the evening for them. And then as far as the children are concerned, both of my children spoke at the planning board meeting at the county about Indigo Phase 2 when it was on the agenda there. They both spoke for less than 3 minutes. They both got their point across. And that was not something that we had rehearsed. They wanted to go to the meeting simply to know what was going on, and decided when we got there that they wanted to speak. To say that I was nervous, where I hadn't coached my kids, I had no idea what they were going to say, and they were getting up with 3 minutes to speak. Kids can do it too. We have to give them credit where credit is due. So I don't think that we're restricting by age either, because that can go the other way also. Somebody who's significantly older who might have some memory issues, we could say that either way on timing. So I think if you know you're coming to speak, you rehearse what's most important to get that out in front of us. And then knowing that there's a time limit, you're not planning to tell us your whole life story about how you got here and where you lived before. We need to know what's relevant to what we've got going on. And if you want to tell me about where you came from, let's go meet for coffee and talk about it rather than doing it right here in this meeting.
One of the reasons that public comment has gone on so long, and this is the major reason, is that we have had numerous meetings where there have been over 20 people signed up to speak. And at the end, the city clerk will say, is there anybody who wants to speak who did not get a chance to sign up? And then sometimes people do get up. The county deals with this by only allowing the first 10 people who signed up to speak. I have been to the county commission meetings. I gotten there at 4:30 so I can be one of the 10 people. And truly with me, there are at least 10 or 12 people not connected to me, but who have something to say, who understand that if you don't get there an hour and a half early and sign up, you won't be one of the 10. Now, I hardly think that county commissioners are our role models. I don't think, and I certainly am not suggesting that we limit the number of people who can speak, but that is the major contributor to why public comment goes long. Yes, there have been people who have spoken for a long time. There have been people who have spoken for 50 minutes. And I would listen to them again. Yes, some people left. On that particular night, some people left who had wanted to be heard, and they just kind of gave up and left. It still gets us back to, why are we here? We are here to hear what people want to tell us. What are their concerns? Sure, they can email us and they can call us, and by God, they do. But for many different reasons, people may want to be heard by everybody so that their concerns alert others in the city that this is an existing issue. They're concerned about it. Other people may not have known about it. Now they know because it has been brought out in public. Truly, I ask you, don't do this. Don't limit it.
So part of the benefit to limiting it, in my opinion, is that often what we have experienced is we get phone calls about a topic. We get emails about a topic. We hear the same email read at the podium. And on some topics, I won't even listen because I don't want to bring them back up again. Let's talk about the street sweeper. That how many times could that's one I can bring up that no one will. But how many times do I have to hear about a topic from a singular person when there are so many other people that want their voices heard as well?
I think that's a misleading example. Only because, I was an alderman when I kept bringing this up. This wasn't a matter of public comment. Why are we thinking of doing this? It is because long meetings are uncomfortable eventually. It is an inconvenience to us. Is that our guiding principle?
I think the other thing is the purpose of public comment at a Board of Aldermen meeting is probably not a long dissertation from our citizens, but a 3 minutes to 5 minutes is a good bit of time to get your point across, because people's attention span on a certain topic, whatever the topic is, it wanes. And so I think that's part of it. And it will give more people the opportunity to speak. Like I said, I was the one that did not limit a public comment, but now I think 3 to 5 minutes is reasonable for right now. And let's see how it works. We can always change it. We can always change it back. And if someone has an issue, let's meet. Call us. Let's talk about it. The manager and I meet with people every week. We go up to the conference room and they come in, we meet, we talk, we discuss, because they need more than what will be offered in a public comment. And that's good. And we're there and we want to be available, and we are. But if someone wants to come and talk 3 to 5 minutes, preferably 3 to get their point across. But if they need more time, then let's get together and give them the time that they need. So let's, you've made a motion and there's a second. I mean, like I say, if you wanted to vote the other way and say unlimited public comment, I'm fine with that too. So, but anyway, that's the motion, that's the second, and I'll call for a vote.
Could we restate the vote?
The motion, and correct me, Madam Clerk, if I'm wrong, is that public comment will be limited to 3 minutes, and that letters and emails that are sent in would also be read as long as it was within, it would stop at the 3-minute mark. Is that good, board? Okay. All in favor? Any opposed?
No.
Okay, so 5-1. Is that what you got? Okay. Motion passed 5-1. Thank you, board. Good discussion. And we're here to listen, and glad you're riding your bike there, Alderman Kelly. Just keep pedaling faster, right?
Catch me if you can.
All right. Item 5, the city alleyways policy update considerations. Alderman. Website. I apologize. I was looking forward to that.
Your attention span's waning.
It is. No. My attention span is good. I used to work 16-hour shifts. What are you talking about? The new city website demonstration. Cheyenne Ketchum and Elena Taylor.
Hello, board, mayor, guest in the room, guest at home. Sorry, we're trying to get ourselves situated here for a second. So what we are going to do is kind of have a little show and tell, so to speak. What we are doing here is just going to kind of do a walk through, a scroll through of the new website, Plural. I told you we have a surprise for you. So what we'll do is show you what we have, take any questions that you have. Again, this is still maintenance mode. We are waiting for one last thing, and we should have an answer. If not by tomorrow, it should be early next week. Once we get that answer and once what we're waiting on is done, we will be able to finally say, hey, we're going live on this date, and then start sending that information out to the masses. But since we are so close, we're ready to go ahead and start showing you what you have to look forward to. So this is your brand new homepage, our brand new homepage. It does still have our beautiful sliding banner that we can interchange. We do still have our wonderful Text My Gov alert system. There is an X that you can X out and make it go away. But we also now have an alert pop up at the bottom that will only exist if we have an alert that we need to put there. So rather than having a yellow alert banner at the top that may or may not be seen because it kind of blends in with the images, now we have a big contrasting pop-up that we have full control over what it says. Right now it just says, hey, if you see something's wrong, email Cheyenne and we'll get it taken care of. So also you can remove that and click close and it'll go away. It's a little slow on the uptick.
Can we use that for things like board applications when it's time for that?
We can if there's nothing else that has to be up there that for whatever reason, let's say we're in a storm, that would take some precedence. But if there's nothing else up there, we can use that.
Love that.
That's a great
Thank you.
idea. Yeah. So we have some more flexibility with that as well. So moving to, I don't know, let's check out the Board of Aldermen page, shall we? Look at these pretty faces. Give it a, look at there. Wow. We're going to have a picture day. We're going to have a different picture day. It's fine. But as you can see here, we have, it's much clearer to see who we have representing our City of Southport residents. We have our mayor, we have Alderman Ward 1, we have our city manager, our Ward 2. We also have easily, granted, whenever you're sitting across the room, it's not as easy to read phone, email, and address information, but it's right there. And then eventually, once y'all send me your bios, we're going to get those up there as well. And then that way people can learn more about you. Oh, look what I did there. Those folks who hadn't gotten their pictures taken yet. Yes, thank you. Thank you. You still have to take a picture. But one of the really cool things that we also have with this new website is a document center. So one thing that we've done that I think is great is the resolutions that we have now live somewhere on the website rather than just in a public notice. So as we have resolutions, we can now file them directly under the Board of Aldermen website and say, wow, look, here's a folder that says Board of Aldermen resolutions, and I can go and get it. But if I don't remember what it's called and I remember, oh, we did something about the harbor, I can just say, oh, wow, here's everything that talks about the harbor that the alderman has resources on. And now it's in the document center. So that's y'all's page. But one of the big things that we heard about was that awful menu. I said it, you didn't have to. So here is all of the things that people couldn't find on our website, but it all lives right here at the top instead of it all being like hidden in 14 drop downs. Everything lives in this top white banner that you see at the top of your screen. You hover one time over the City Hall is where you'll find your Board of Aldermen, committees, other fun stuff. City departments is where you'll find city departments. Business is where you'll find business information. Resident information is where you'll find resident information. Explore Southport is where Elena will tell you super fun stuff. That's a super big secret that she's excited to tell you about. And then one last thing before I'll answer any other questions that you guys have, or two things, and then I'll answer questions. We have a new business directory. How many of y'all saw the ugly one on the old website? No?
Probably nobody.
Nobody?
Nobody
Oh,
liked it.
thank you. So let's look at this new one. That's beautiful. If you have looked at it in the past like 4 years, this one's so much better. If you have a business in Southport proper, or a physical business in the 28461 zip code, you can email me and it will go on our Southport business directory. It has to be physical. But it has to be physical. If it's physical, I'm flexible because this is included in our website. It has to be physical. The other one I had to pay for. I had to pay per listing. This one I don't. It's included. See, saving y'all money. Saving y'all money. Thank you. But this is our new business directory. That also very similar to y'all's directory. Much easier to look at, much easier to search and see. In your top left corner, you can't see it right now across the room, but it has that category of what you're looking at. So you're seeing food and beverage, you're seeing salons, photographers, shopping. Services is broad, but that's where we have Brush Bandit. We have, I think, contractors under services, various other we got a lot of service providers and small businesses in the area, so a lot of them fall under that umbrella. But yes. Yes. So a lot of these are, they were imported manually from our current website. I did go through because I did have to manually re-upload logos. So if I knew that the business has retired, moved, or is no longer in business for one reason or another, I would just went ahead and removed it. I have not added any new businesses. So if you are a business that is not, you do not see yourself on here, or you see it and you're like, oh, like we need to update that, please email me. It does not cost anything. It is free. Like, please let me know. Honestly, email me every 6 months. Make sure that it's updated, because there's like, what'd you say, 700 businesses in Southport? Like, that's a lot of people for me to keep up with, guys. So please, please, please send it to me, and I would love to refresh this as often as possible. And then the last one, and then Elena's going to take over, is not that. I mean, this is important. Make sure you register for TextMyGov. But especially with old girl Fern last week or 2 weeks ago. Did I click the button? I don't think I clicked the button, guys. I'm so sorry. There we go. Our severe storm and EOC update information. It's still exists. It's all right here. So it is in an accordion style, and it still looks very similar to what we're used to seeing as well. So you click on it and it still has all of the information. There we go. All of the information and updates that we're used to seeing. So that is the walkthrough for our main website. And as soon as we have an update for when our go live date will be, you will definitely know. I promise. So.
Did anybody have any questions
Oh,
for
yeah.
Cheyenne before I just take over?
Yes, ma'am.
Real quick, is there a place in the menu for the city charter?
If you hover over City Hall and you go to the third column, City Charter and Code of Ordinances is right here.
Outstanding.
Yep.
Do you have a back office that you're able to add and subtract and maybe add a heading to a situation, or do you have to call a programmer every time you want to fix something?
It's us.
Okay.
We're the back office.
I think you can do it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So they handed you a product, and it's a you work with that product in the back office dashboard to add and subtract, to update. Don't call a programmer all the time for your problems. Thank you.
Okay, cool. So, Cheyenne has liked to joke for years now that our two offices are the business in the front and the party in the back. And now our website is the physical embodiment of that, because everything you just saw was the business half. And my department, the community relations department, now has a website called exploresouthportnc.gov. And it has all of the things that you can do in and around Southport, your events, your nonprofits, your everything that we've got going on. This has got it covered. We're not perfect. There's already stuff. I met with the Southport Art Galleries Guild yesterday. They gave me so many cool ideas. This is still a work in progress, but it's a really awesome start. So if you're looking to come here, or even if you're a resident and you're just like, what is going on in Southport? This is going to be all things what's going on in Southport. I want to show you the events calendar because I think it's really cool and important. The calendar is going to mirror on both the city website and this website. So it doesn't matter if you go through city or us, you're going to see all the events happening in Southport. But on Cheyenne's calendar, unlike this one, you're also going to get all the city meetings and stuff like that. If you come here, you're just getting the fun stuff. We also still have a place where if you want to export your calendar, we actually have people who do use this feature in town, and I think it's really cool. They export it to their personal calendar so they always know what's going on. We still have that function. It's not going anywhere. And we still have the ability for people to submit their events so we can then push it out there. We have something Jesse's been working really hard on, which is our Fort Johnson Visitor Center page and a little area about things featured in our gift shop and things like that. She's been working very hard. We also have a history and culture section. I mean, just really encourage you to spend time on this website. It's a lot of fun, and we plan on doing more fun, cool things as we continue going on. If you are one of our vendors who wants to apply to a city event, it's much more clear now than it was on our original website. It used to be really tough pushing out that information to those people, but now it simply lives under events, totally easy to find. And similarly to the main city website, when you hover over these, you don't have to look for anything. These captions are what's on this page, so you're gonna easily find everything that you need. Does anybody have any questions for me?
Why do you have two calendars? Wouldn't it be easier for users to see everything?
Sure, absolutely.
Meetings and
go
fun
to the city
things,
website.
everything on that.
I was gonna say,
Just we could show her.
yeah. So if you go to the main city calendar, that is exactly what you're asking for.
Sorry. That would include meetings as well as something going on at the parks, the crab derby, everything.
So if you look right now, so this is on the homepage of in what you'll see. So this is the homepage of the main website. So citysouthport.gov. So what is coming up now is the meetings. So it's showing up meetings. Now you see there's two tabs. If you click the second tab, that's events. So that's showing like, hey, we've got basketball games tonight.
Essentially something every day of the month.
Yep. Everything that's grayed out is something that is going on through every fun stuff, all of the fun stuff.
Yep.
And that currently lit up tab is the events calendar that is exporting directly to Elena's website, Elena's portion and her department's portion of the website.
Yeah.
So Elena, how do you get to exploresouthportnc.gov from the main website?
You click the tab in the top.
Wow.
So,
No.
so you're reaching into economic development.
Yes, sir.
Yay.
Which is one of the tenets of my department. And I do feel like that's a weakness that we've had. And Definitely trying. Yes, sir.
So we want to develop our businesses, and the only trick here is 28461. That's where the rubber is going to hit the road, and it's going to be hard to deal with because that is St. James, that is Bowling Springs. That's a lot of not Southport. It's not Southport. It's a zip code. They stole our zip code. So I want to promote Southport businesses. It's hard enough to be here in the first place, and hard to promote those that don't pay towards our economy. So that's the only thing I've got in this is that 28461 is a very wide net to throw out there. I know we want to entertain people, but that's the only struggle I've got. I even came up with that with the driver's tag after I saw it and thought about it. I'm giving Southport away for free for a $25 tag.
It's 30.
Yes, ma'am. And I'll be honest, this everything we just give and give and give. We're Southport here, and so that's the only struggle I've got with this. Otherwise, I'm so proud of you. So proud of you. We don't get grant money because we don't have economic development tools in place. We have nothing to point to get money. They all say get grants. Well, you got to make some money before they'll give you something. Thank you.
Ladies, this is beautiful and such an upgrade from what we have. So thank you for all of your hard work. And I know that it'll be a little while where we're still working kinks out. I get that. But this is a vast improvement on what we've had up to this point. I will mirror what Mark was saying. I would on the business directory. So let me split this a little bit. So on the business directory, I would really like to see Southport proper businesses. On the party in the back, because I understand that we have vendors outside that come into Southport that do events here. I could see us opening that up to 28461. But on our business directory, when we're talking about things that are happening in Southport, our meetings in Southport, all of that stuff in Southport, I'd really like to see Southport proper businesses highlighted. So that's my only.
I'd like to add, excellent job, ladies. Much improved. For those who know me, my primary and one of my major focuses is financial management and transparency. And one of the things that I've been talking to Noah about is, can we put year-to-date revenue and expenditure reports on our website? And Noah has pledged to me to work towards that end. They're currently going through a transformation right now of financial software, so it might take a few weeks. But I think developing trust with the taxpayers of Southport would be promoted highly by putting on your website financial reports. Thank you for considering and hopefully doing that.
Do you want to?
Cheyenne, if you're, oh, I'm sorry.
Real quick. So it's already transferred over. All of the budget, fiscal year and budgets and audits have been already transferred over to the new website. And as well as our current tax information from the previous year. So we've got that on here as well as the 2023 revaluation info. And then moving forward, any additional information that we have that we can put on there, we absolutely can put it in there in the little document, not little, but in the document center that we have. That's exactly why we went with this format. So that way we can make a more searchable, a search engine basically built into the website.
Great. And I think for the current fiscal year, having monthly updates for actual revenues and expenditures will be greatly appreciated by the taxpayers. And it just be good business for Southport. Thank you for doing that.
That's a great idea, Paul. Way to go. Beautiful website. Now, if we're partying, how do we get back over to the city website from the party website?
So what'll happen is it opens up for ADA accessibility. So both websites are completely ADA accessible, and WCAG 2.AA, I don't remember, it's like 7 digits long, compliant. So it'll open up in a completely separate tab. So the first tab will still be available. You'll just pop back over. But our recommendation, go ahead and bookmark both of them. So that way they're just fully accessible on your bookmarks bar. So whichever one you're looking for. Oh, speaking of phones, does this work on your cell phone now?
It's a lot better than it used to be, that's for sure.
It should. And now this is kind of sort of obviously like depending on what, thank you, I appreciate that. Thank you for humoring me. Depending on your cell phone or your tablet, this is what it'll look like. So, but anyway, now we're getting into like the really fun stuff and everybody's ready to go home, but I could do this all night. But yeah, so it adjusts to your screen size, tablet size, all of that fun stuff. But as I said, I think it was last month or the month prior. Elena's been here for 5 years.
5 years.
5 years. I've been here for 4, and this has been 2.5 years in the making, and it has been a work of heart, and a lot of love has gone into this, and we are very, very pleased to present it to you. And Jesse, Karen, and Gianna have been working very hard as well behind the scenes, so we can't say anything without shouting them out as well. But we're happy to soon present it to you as a finished product. So yeah, any final questions?
This is fantastic. I mean, that's just joining the 21st century, and our citizens are going to be so thrilled to be able to find things easily, and whether it's a budget or a business, hopefully looking for businesses, looking for somewhere to shop or looking what's going on in the city. I mean, it's just marvelous, and people coming in from out of town. So this is just great. Thank you, ladies. And I'll need a tutorial, so I'll come by if you don't mind.
We can set it up.
Thank you. All right. Any further questions? All right. Thank you, board. Great presentation. Thank you. And then next, if I'm in order correctly, item 5, city alleyways, policy update considerations, Alderman Davis.
May I, just for a moment, I would just like to put on the record that I do object to the mayor's recusal of this conversation for the purpose of an appearance of conflict of interest.
This is not about anything involving the mayor right now. I mean, hey, look quick into the record. Okay. For years, numerous questions about all of the city-owned alleyways have remained in limbo. These questions need answers in order for the board to be fair to all affected parties. And those include the citizens of Southport, because all citizens in Southport are owners of all the alleyways. This is city property. Okay. The owners of properties that abut alleyways. And that includes me, by the way. So, and I haven't recused myself from thinking about this. The users of city properties who need the alleyways to have access to their homes and businesses. The owners of properties that encroach on alleyways. I've had people ask me, am I going to have to pay $40,000 to have a house mover come and move my house 4 feet because I'm encroaching? And I didn't know that when I bought the property. Okay, so those are some of the many questions that come up, but those are the ones that are most pressing, I think. And so we need information before we can even begin talking about this. And the information that I would like to ask the city manager to direct staff to start accumulating is some maps, both linear and if at all possible, aerial and photographic. That will show us where all of the existing city alleyways are now, where they are, what are the we'll be able to see what are the obstructions, what are the encroachments, what is the condition of the maintenance of these. I mean, in the original maps, you could see these alleyways drawn. I mean, they were all over town. The idea was that you would access your property from the back. You would bring your carriage and your horse down through the alleyway. Okay. Over and over and over again, for whatever reason, and I don't think that there are very many records about this, people have built in the alleyways. The alleyways just end at a big building. So midway through the alleyway. But we need to be able to see where is all this and what's that situation? What's the status of every alleyway? And then we should, if we can, get the record of all requests that have been made to the city to bestow ownership or special use of an alleyway. And I can think of 3 that have come up within the last, I believe it's 3.5 to 4 years. The record, going back as far as practical, of Board of Aldermen decisions about specific alleyways and alleyways in general. I've been told many stories about, oh, such and such an alleyway was given to so-and-so in exchange for this, that, and the other, and it was maybe, 35, 40 years ago. Do we have any record of this? Prima facie evidence is that a building exists in the alleyway, but let's see if there've ever been any requests and decisions by the boards on these. I mean, that's precedent, and we ought to know what the precedents are. And then, of course, we do need the state copies in front of us of state statutes concerning roads, alleyways, and any transfer of ownership of those. So once we've got all that in hand, the board then has enough information to start making good decisions that are fair, that are equitable to everybody, all of the parties involved. And if we decide to close and relinquish ownership of any or all of the alleyways, we're going to need a policy, a firm policy about what the parameters of that would be, what would guide our decisions on that. And then, if we are going to give up any of the alleyways, who gets them? Who gets it? As I said, I have a property on Atlantic Avenue that backs up to an alleyway. Am I going to get some of that alleyway or not? By the way, I don't want it. That pretty much is it. So this is simply, and I can put it in the form of a motion if this is going to make it clearer, that we direct the city manager to begin having staff begin to amass as much of the information cited. That's 1 through 4.
Second.
Thank you.
Are you referring to?
So we've got to define what we have. You were correct. Easements are one thing. We had a train line that went through. Maybe that's what Lowe's talking about, because my grandmother lived on Atlantic, and I know the train went behind her house, that type of thing. So we got alleyways, old train lines, and then we have easements in the neighborhoods that might not be used. Let's identify all of those. And then my biggest thing is how we maintain them. If we don't do anything to cut the brush, keep the trees down, maintain it to a degree, and we just let everybody else take care of our problem, then we shouldn't be holding it in the first place. So there's an obligation that we maintain what we have. That's why I wanted to talk about this, to get to that point.
And,
Yeah, I
and
mean,
there
we're
are,
not there yet. Let's get our information in front of us. I mean, we had a lady cut, I think most of this board was sitting as a board when a lady who lives back off of 9th Street there was just a little piece of an alleyway left, and she wanted us to relinquish it for a variety of reasons. I don't remember what they were, nor do I remember what we decided. I think we said no. And it really didn't make sense for us to hang on to it. And we had let trees fall into the space and so forth. Fairly recently, a gentleman who lives at the end of a row of, I think it's 4 houses, he's at the end of that row, and behind his property and his neighbors is an alleyway, and the alleyway ends at a great big building. It's supposed to go all the way to 8th Street, but it didn't. I mean, a big old building was put there. But the only way for him to get to his garage was to go down to the alleyway. Same thing for his neighbors. Guess what? Couldn't do that. Huge tree limbs, all kinds of brush and mess. Shame on us.
we don't have an obligation. There's no statutory obligation for us to open them. And we already have policy in place for homeowners that abut. And I think it was our board that adopted that.
I could not find that. And so that's what I looked and looked.
Call staff. They're here call the manager. We have it, right, Maureen? So there's policy in place to open. And
are you suggesting that we don't want to even try to get any information?
You're going to get, if you're looking for maps that show every encroachment in Southport, you're talking a lot of money. And Mr. Gross, I don't think you want to spend a lot of money, right? We're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands, if not more.
I would be concerned about spending that number.
Should not.
Yeah.
But are you looking for accuracy or are you looking for best guess?
So I live in a home that backs up to an alleyway. It is an overgrown alleyway directly behind my home with an encroachment from the adjacent property across the alleyway. So I can't use it to bring a golf cart in and out to my house right now because the alleyway is not cleared. I don't feel like it's the city's responsibility to clear the alleyway. If I want to clear, if I really want my golf cart that badly, then it's my responsibility to clear my section of the alley and potentially further down if I want access to it. And I can do it on a Saturday.
Guys, we're getting away from the point of this.
The point is that this is just one more time for this topic to come up. I think it is interesting that we did get that FOIA request right around the same time. And, that this becomes an issue.
You're attributing motive. I wrote all of this up about a month ago and sent it to weeks ago, something like that. Has nothing to do with any FOIA. This doesn't have anything to do with issues that have come up recently. We have a thorny, unresolved situation in Southport with alleyways that were created, I think it was the 1793 or something like that. The map of the original 100 lots shows alleyways all over the historic district. And then as the city grew, there were more.
We have
This
a policy
is a request for information, not a discussion about maintenance or anything.
It's a very expensive request. We have a policy about how we open alleys now. That's clearly defined. We have a process through the planning department because somebody doesn't know that's not our problem. They can certainly call city staff and walk them through that process. So what is the next step? The next step is, are we going to give away our alleys? I say no. If we want to vote on that right now, let's have that conversation. And then state statute tells us how we would get rid of property.
Can I contribute?
Sharon, can you hold off while Brady just clarifies some
Every
stuff?
single alleyway conversation is unique. Because I have been on the board over 10 years, and the one that Lowe referenced was two people that, the guy lived in a house and the woman was going to build something. And so we did not give away that alleyway. We did give, abandon an alleyway that was surrounded by a property that was going to be developed over at Fisher Landing. So, because it was in the middle of a whole parcel. So every alleyway conversation is unique. The only way to have an aerial shot that would be any help would require surveys, which goes back to the hundreds of thousands of dollars that Alderman Carroll mentioned. So I think we have policy already in place for this. So that's where I am.
I agree.
Google Maps will give you the,
Extremely inaccurate. Extremely inaccurate. That is not do we want to work on facts or do we want to make believe? Use our imagination. Brady, I don't know if you have anything to add, but
Yeah, no, and I'm not adding anything from a legal perspective, only to the degree. Maybe I wasn't meant to go. And it would be only Mayor Pro Temp Mosteller and YouTube, but it was probably 3 or 4 months after I began as city attorney. So it was sometime mid 2023. I don't know if you guys recall that the then assistant city manager, Dory Dutton, and Mo might have been involved too, had a very detailed PowerPoint that generally went over a good bit of the questions that you're asking here, Lowe, to some degree. So I don't know if it'd be helpful. I think it might, most likely will be in one of the minutes of those meetings. So to the degree that the clerk or the manager can go and dig that up. I mean, that's at least. Well, what I was saying is that's at least a start of information that wouldn't go and cost us the city a dime in terms of having that, and for what it's worth. These conversations have come up within the last 3 years.
I do have that. I pulled all of that out of the minutes, and it is a very good starting place. Problem is, it left out a lot of alleyways. So that's why I want to go back and look at some of them. As the city gets built up, these are going to be issues that come up.
I agree with Alderman Mosteller. Do I get a round of applause for saying that? No, Karen, you're exactly right. The one thing that's consistent about our alleyways is nothing. There's nothing. Every one of them is unique. I have a 10-foot alleyway behind me. It's landlocked on both sides due to encroachments, due to trees. I don't expect the city to clear alleyways. We've got much greater priorities than clearing alleyways. I keep mine cleared because I ran up on a copperhead or two, and I don't want it crawling into my yard and biting somebody or an animal. But yeah, the alleyways are so unique and depends where you're talking about. It would be very difficult to have a policy that addresses all the variances in our alleyways. So, and Robert, I'm with you. I am not going to vote to spend $100,000, $200,000 on anything when we got roads, we got flooding issues, we got infrastructure issues. We got a lot more important things to spend money on. If we can pull some data together without spending money, fine. I'm all for that. But let's not spend any money on things when we have more important priorities in Southport.
If we would have maintained your right of way, your alley, and cut that tree down, you wouldn't be landlocked anymore. So the city didn't maintain these things, and now people are not able to use a feature that would have been a part of your property. So we didn't maintain, we let the tree grow, and it's not gonna get any smaller, and it's not gonna change. So it was our fault. We didn't maintain. So anybody up here that says, I'm not gonna spend any money to maintain our property, okay.
There are a lot of examples, and I don't want to compare us to other communities in any way, but this is not a unique to Southport situation. And so we've got a policy in place about how to open alleyways. If that's the concern, that I walked that alleyway personally the last time alleyways was on the agenda, just so that I knew what I was talking about. I walked every alley that I could find on a map so that I knew what I was talking about, so that I understood the encroachments. If we want to find a way once they're open to participate in maintenance, I'd certainly entertain that. I don't know the answer to that, but I don't think that giving land away is a great thing. There are a lot of people that want access. Many of those homes that were built by the builder that built Paul's house, they put those garages on the back for a reason, with the idea that at some point, someday, they would be open.
Do we want to take a vote or drop this?
I
Or
think
what?
I have pretty good consensus from both sides. I'm happy to package all the information together as has been. I can assure you, as the one who writes or signs the checks and approves PAs and ACH payments, I will not be spending significant funds for surveys or anything of that nature, but I'm happy to gather what we've done in the past, what statute is, package it all together so everybody's clear on what we have done and what is the possibilities for future conversations.
It's great. Just, if I could make a motion, then we could ask you to obtain all available information about alleyways, but not expend money on surveys or aerial photographs and so forth. And that's why.
Well, we already have one motion that we never voted on yet. That was to direct the city manager to have staff amass information cited in 1 through 4, and then you seconded it, but there wasn't a vote.
Let's amend it to what she just said. Oh,
I mean, that didn't specify everything that the city manager. Why? I withdraw my motion. New motion directing the city manager to pull together all available information from meeting minutes, past decisions, and so on, maps that are available, and but not to spend city funds on surveys, photographs, and so on.
Second.
I'm ready to go home and I'm hungry. So, we're good. We're good. No, there are a lot of potential in these right of ways. The Atlantic Avenue has a drain from the ABC store. We can get into that drain because they're clear. We need them for not just driving to backyards, stormwater, pedestrian pathways. They're the last assets we have. And that's why I've been this way. Thank you.
Yeah, you're on.
Okay, thank you. The only thing too, I would ask that the city manager not expend a huge amount. Staff time is money as well. And so I would ask him to balance that such that it wasn't an overburden of staff for information that's erroneous.
Absolutely, that's good. And if you can preside over the vote as the mayor has recused himself.
The motion, please say aye. All those against? Motion carries.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Pro Tem. Item J, committee reports. Alderman Gross.
Thank you, Mayor. I currently serve as a liaison to the ABC board. When Mayor Hatem asked me to be on it, I told him I'd happily be on this board. I don't drink spirits, but I do like revenues. So I've really enjoyed Mayor Hatem being on this board. I've met with him several times. Southport is one of 11 ABC stores in Brunswick County. And from what I've observed, they are definitely one of the top 2 gross sales ABC stores in the county. December 25 sales, and I was shocked at these numbers, were $630,642 in sales in December. January, and that was about, that was actually down, or actually it was down 1.57% from December of 24. So it was slightly declined year to year. January sales were $382,624, which was actually up 8.44% over January of 25. I've been impressed with the way that store's being run. We've got an excellent group of people on the board, and I look forward to continuing to work with them. I asked them the other day, or actually asked them today, when's the next check coming in to our coffers? Because I was looking at one of the revenue reports that Noah sent me, and I was a little disappointed we didn't have more money on that report, but I've been assured that once the CPA gets completed with his reports in the next 2 weeks, we'll be getting a check, Noah. So I'm looking out for you, trying to get us some money. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for serving on that committee, and the free samples are nice too. Alderman Spencer.
That's why you put the non-drinkers on that committee most of the time. I was there one time. So I have the wonderful Board of Adjustment where we deal with all these wonderful issues that we create for ourselves. Honestly, I missed that last meeting. I cannot lie. And I heard it was quite contentious. And so we have some issues that are coming before that board. I can't quote them at the moment. More the cemetery committee. We're working on the UDO for the ordinances for the cemetery, trying to finalize those. They reviewed some cemetery software between $3,500 and $20,000 to index that, and we're looking at that and some other alternatives. But we're working to make the cemetery functional and to know what we've got there. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Alderman Kelly.
The 4th of July Festival Shrimperoo fundraiser is set for April the 12th. It's a Sunday at American Fish. For anyone who is interested in getting tickets, we can start to look at the 4th of July Festival website for that. Also, donations are welcome anytime for the festival. The planning board committee will look forward to having new members when we go back out to have another round of interviews.
All right. Thank you. Alderman Davis.
I've had bronchitis for almost a month, so I missed the Historic Preservation Commission meeting. I checked with the chairman, who filled me in on pretty much everything, and I can only say at this point that the commission is taking very seriously every objection, every suggestion that citizens have made. And I believe that what the commission is going to be presenting to the board, I am not going to say that it's going to be in March, but it will be pretty soon, will bear very little resemblance to the thing that we got in a booklet. Boy, almost a year ago, it seems like, well, last spring. The commission really takes very seriously what people have objected to and the reasons for the objections, and is trying to find ways. I don't want to say that they're trying to find ways to get to yes, but they are working hard toward that.
Thank you, Alderman Carroll.
Thank you. Forestry met this week. It was my first meeting with the forestry. Went really well. I enjoyed it. They welcomed me. One of the big things that I would like everyone to know about is Arbor Day. Arbor Day is actually scheduled for April 25th. It's on the 24th, but we're celebrating it here in Southport on the 25th. That's a Saturday. And I think that's going to be back in Franklin Square Park. So that's pretty exciting. The other committee that I am liaison to is the Parks and Rec, which is a lot of fun. And I'd like to take a moment just to remind everybody here and at home of all the many new and ongoing programs, including yoga classes offered at the JC building Monday through Friday. You can check the city website for times. Basketball is pretty impressive this year. Excuse me, trying to not see these notifications. So basketball is soaring. Morgan Harper featured basketball program in the Stateport pilot. We thank our referees, children, and parents in the ARC for we'll have retired school teacher Yvonne Adams teaching children how to write in cursive, which is something that we don't see anymore. So that's pretty cool. March 28th is the Easter egg hunts. Ages 5 to 12, 10 a.m. at Franklin Square Park. Immediately following, we will head over to the Garrison Lawn for ages 4 and under. There will also be Mr. Rabbit at both events. And then April 6th to the 10th, Parks and Rec will be having our spring break camp with lots of fun adventures. And those hours are from 7 a.m. to 5:30. So for parents who are working, it is a great opportunity to have your kids somewhere that is safe and fun and a great learning experience as well. So, thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Mostello.
Thank you, Mayor. I wanted to, with regard to the planning board, to let everyone know that the most recent new work is rules of procedure and handbook for new members. That was a new project that was completed for the planning board. Now, with regard to beautification committee, despite frigid temperatures this past Saturday, 22 beautification volunteers had a productive work day. In addition to the regular tasks like cutting ornamental grasses and planting pansies, some of the volunteers completed the final assembly after cutting, sanding, and staining 2 new fishing benches for the city pier. This project was made possible by one of our local merchants. I want to give a shout out to Builders First Source. The new fishing benches were made possible by the lumber and hardware donated by Builders First Source. So be sure to check out the new fishing benches on the city pier. The next scheduled workday for the beautification volunteers is Saturday, March 7th at 9 a.m. Plan to meet at the jail annex across from the Smithfield Burying Ground at Rhett and Nash. Also, the next beautification committee meeting will be held in the upstairs conference room on the second floor of City Hall on February 23rd at 5 o'clock. And of course, the public is always welcomed.
Okay, great. Thank you. Item K, managers report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. An important topic in the news in the last week and the last few months has been cybersecurity in local government. We've seen Carolina Beach hit by a recent cyber attack that cost them about $450,000. In Pender County, the same at $600,000. So that's top of mind for me to ensure we have the adequate IT systems and cybersecurity infrastructure that we need for the city to make sure we're not victim to that. So I continue to look into our policies and practices for that, and anything we can add to make sure we're well ahead of any threats like that. The North Carolina National Guard actually has a cybersecurity division that offers free assessments. So I've been in contact with them and I'm working on getting one scheduled for them to come out and do an assessment for us. So I look forward to making sure we have all our cybersecurity infrastructure in place. Long term, we all know stormwater is a major concern and need for the city. We continue not only to do what staff can do through our funds, but through grants. One of the major grants we've applied for in the past is the Bonnet Creek flood reduction at Fodale, starting at the hospital, which was originally in FEMA through the BRIC program. With federal changes, that was shifted down to the state. The court sent it back to FEMA. So it's kind of been in a little loophole the past few months, but they finally in December settled it back to FEMA. So that application was due at the end of December. So we're working through that process. So we hope to hear for a grant award later in the year and hope to be able to do that great project in the stormwater system. Public Works continues with the work they can do in the stormwater system. They have completed the East Nash Street pipe replacement project. In the coming weeks, they'll be paving over some of that work. However, the entire road will not be repaved as it is a part of the county sewer replacement project. So we're not going to replace the whole street just so that the county can tear it back up. So we're excited for that pipe to be in there to help with our stormwater needs and all that Public Works can continue to do there. Public Works is planning ahead to continue stormwater projects on Store Avenue and Burlington Avenue. So they're planning for that in the weeks ahead to do what they can do. I also commend Public Works Director Tom Stanley and Elena for their work on the community deck replacement, which is completed despite increasing the footprint of the project and replacing the overlook decking and some additional joists than what was projected. The project was completed $28,000 under budget and ahead of schedule, so we're excited for that. Indian Trail is about 90% completed on its structural repairs, including a new roof, new flooring, and crawl space. So 90% complete there. So we hope to have that completed within March to reopen Indian Trail, well ahead of the May 1st projected opening. Citywide tree trimming has also been completed throughout the city by Public Works in the last few weeks. So we're glad to have that completed. One of our long-term projects that we're excited about is the Weather Tower project to be resurrected on the Garrison Lawn. So that has completed construction and fabrication. The contractor has all the required permits. So we're just waiting on their installation. So we expect that in the next few weeks. So we're excited to begin that installation and have that back on the Garrison Lawn. The golf cart inspections continues at our APS building. You can come Wednesdays from 10 to 4 there at the APS building. All renewal inspections are due in March, so come out on Wednesdays to get your golf cart inspected. The board's workshop retreat, which we were going to have a few weeks ago during the snowstorm, we've rescheduled that to Wednesday, March 4th, beginning at 9 a.m. in the community building. So we look forward to holding that great retreat and discussion again. I want to thank city staff and especially police, fire, EMS, and public works and PIO for all their great work during the recent storm event. We don't see that type of snow here often, so we are grateful that we made it through that big event. And then finally, one of the benches that was replaced recently is in honor of former Alderman Tom Lombardi. So we're happy to have that. And his public memorial service will be held here Saturday in the community building, starting at 2 o'clock. So all those who would be able to come, we certainly hope you can join us for that. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
A question, the retreat on March the 4th, that is a called public meeting.
It is.
So the public can come.
Absolutely.
Yeah, all meetings are public. There won't be, at the workshop, there's not public comment. That's correct. That's the only difference. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Manager. You and I have similar notes. I too want to say we appreciate the efforts of the city during the winter storm. We were very fortunate and appreciate all the efforts there and the hard work during that time. And again, also the celebration of life for Mr. Tom Lombardi, 2 o'clock on Saturday here in the community building. Because it's Abraham Lincoln's birthday, so enjoy President's Day. You know, he was born on this day in 1809. And also just remember for the public comment aspect, the Gettysburg Address. If you read it, it lasts 3 minutes. It's probably one of the greatest things ever written. So you can get your point across in 3 minutes. And so we'll think of President Lincoln when we do public comment at times. I want to wish everyone a happy Valentine's Day, which is coming up. And I think that we have a lot going on in our city, and appreciate the efforts of the city staff and the board and everything that's been going on. And last, there is a Valentine bake sale fundraiser tomorrow at the fire station, starting at 9 o'clock, and it'll go until items are sold. So get there early. And this benefits the EMS auxiliary.
He's selling.
Baked goods, bake sale. Yeah. Item M, the staff reports are in your agenda packet. And item N, board comments. Alderman Gross.
More of a question for Noah. Have we talked to or alerted First National Bank about the cybersecurity issue?
We have not talked to them specifically. It's part of my ongoing review to make sure the back end is well entailed, not only from our perspective, but our vendors as well. So that's ongoing.
Yeah. Miss Libby at First National Bank, sweet lady, great person to make contact with. Have we gotten any feedback from the $10,000 grant?
Yeah, I've had some initial conversations with them on that. So we're working on the language around that. So I hope to have that back soon to the board.
Robert and I have talked about it, and I think we're both on the same page. I think we can find some mutual ground where we don't need to send that $10,000 back and find good use for it in Franklin Square Park.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. The only thing I really want to highlight is Ms. Boyd coming in and speaking. I did meet with her probably 3 or 4 years ago after Florence, and she has an issue. I was hoping that she had an alley in the back, because then we wouldn't have to go and get easements on both sides to go help someone. That's the first thing I want to know. Do you have an alley? So somehow or another, what is she talking about? Is that a sewer septic tank that's open? Is that a public thing that's open?
I'm not sure. This is the first I've heard about it. So I'll certainly review that with staff, what we've done in the past, and see what the exact situation is and follow it back up with her.
I know they're familiar with it, but just get up to date and let's, like the 20 or 30 other people that have got these special situations that are going to cost a lot of money. she's just as important, and it does feel bad to sit here and, yeah, 4 years ago. And there's been 100 issues since then, and I feel bad. Let's just keep working on it. Thank you so much.
Alderman Kelly.
First, I want to thank the city staff, Public Works, everybody who was first responders during the snow. I not only was able to hear the sirens going off from my home when things were happening, but I also got to benefit from Bay Street being closed and going sledding down the Garrison Hill there, along with many of our fire department members. And I don't believe that we got the fire chief. I don't believe we got the police chief to go down, but I did see a snowman that he made while we were out there. So that was fun. And my kids love that. It will be a core memory for them that they'll look back on. So it was really great to see the community come out, and it's really seeing our Southport people, because nobody else could get in really for that. So it was really a great thing to see. I attended the county planning board meeting on Monday. The only thing that really affects Southport closely is there is another development that is on Long Beach Road Extension that was changed. They actually went to a less dense option during that meeting is what they voted on. So it reduced the density, and they reduced the parcel size from 153 to 79 acres and the density to 1.23 dwelling units an acre. So it was good to see that reduction. I am still curious as to what the owners will do with the remaining portion of that parcel, but that was the closest one to Southport during that meeting. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Davis.
Nothing from me, thank you.
Okay. Alderman Carroll. Alderman Mosteller.
Thank you, Mayor. As I have mentioned before, we have been working with our sister communities to create a stronger voice through a joint regional statement regarding the Wilmington Harbor Dredging Project. The joint regional statement reflects the concerns that were discussed at our December 2nd meeting. Several of our sister communities have joined us and given their support for the joint regional statement. This includes Belleville, St. James, Shallotte, Bald Head Island, and Orton Plantation as an important cultural resource. Our other sister communities, Oak Island, Castle Beach, and Navassa, are considering it as well. Currently, the Corps and the Port Authority paused the DEQ review of the project. We don't know why the Corps asked for the pause. It could be that DEQ asked for some conditions of the approval, asked for some conditions of approval, and the Corps is considering how to address that. At any rate, we are pushing forward with this joint regional statement based on the original dredging proposal. When and if the Corps makes changes, we will review the updated project and address the changes at that time. I have been working with the city manager and wanted to update everyone and make sure we were still in consensus as the joint regional statement is going to be sent to the appropriate agencies at the end of the month.
Excellent. Yeah, we are in fully support of the joint regional statement, and we need to protect the Cape Fear River in every way possible. So thank you.
Just another, I just have another comment.
Please.
Am I back on?
Yeah.
Thank you. I have to tell y'all, I am embarrassed that at our meeting tonight, our meetings tonight started with shopping planning board volunteer committee appointees. At an interview committee of 4, including 2 aldermen and the chair and the vice chair of the planning board, unanimously recommended 2 appointees tonight. The interview committee did not recommend re-advertising, which has been done before, if there was insufficient applicants. We barely I don't know if y'all remember around April and May and June when we reappoint all of our committees, we barely get everything scheduled and in by June to have it come to our meeting to make the appointments. So forestry, just as an example, just want you to know, forestry committee had only enough applicants to fill the appointments, but nobody recommended reopening that. So, and that's the case for several of the committees. So I just want to be on the record that I'm just saying this is it's very transparent that shopping committee appointees, at some point, people are going to stop volunteering. And that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, board, this was an interesting meeting, a productive meeting, and appreciate all the comments. And I'll wish you all a happy Valentine's Day, and I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
All in favor? Meeting adjourned. Thank you.